accident, one thing leads to another. Your injury leads to treatment. Treatment leads to hospital bills. Bills lead to debt. Debt leads to stress. The advocates can help relieve that stress. Having an advocate attorney on your side leads to faster resolutions, fair outcomes, and a peaceful recovery for you. You deserve an advocate.
This is The Monty Show, the truth in sports talk streaming. When you want unbiased opinions about your favorite team without the spin, all you have to do is find The Monty Show, streaming live and available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on YouTube. And now, here's Monty.
Hey, The Monty Show, live on Monday, September 15th, 2025. A lot to get to today, obviously. A lot of broken quarterbacks. A bad weekend to be a quarterback in college football or, frankly, in the NFL. A lot of bad quarterbacking to get you. Hope you had a good weekend. Did the worst happen? Did you get attacked by a dog? Did you get in a car accident? Did you get hit while you were riding your bike? None of that's your fault. That's why you got to get to the Advocates at theadvocates.com, the best injury attorneys in the business, 24/7, 365. Yeah, a real live attorney is ready to work with you. And the good news is, you don't have to worry about chatbots and big down payments and retainers. No, there are no consultation fees. You don't pay the advocates unless and until they win your case at theadvocates.com. So make sure you get there. And again, I always tell you, the advocates operate with empathy, with understanding. They have fought your fight. You hand them the claims process. You get back to the best version of yourself. It's that simple at theadvocates.com. Go get it right now. Clear, risk-free advice 24/7, 365. What a weekend of college football it was, and what a disaster for a lot of quarterbacks in and around football. Let's start in college. Obviously, I think the biggest story in college football right now is what's going on with Arch Manning at Texas. And I have spent a lot of time looking at Arch Manning, and I have seen just about every one of his throws multiple times over the last 12 hours, and especially looking at the first three quarters of the Ohio State game and the entirety of the UTEP game. Arch Manning is not very good. And yes, Texas beat UTEP, but here's the problem that I have. And if you follow me on Twitter, you've already seen this one. Arch Manning just refuses to run the offense. And I'll give Steve Sarkisian a lot of credit. I watched his press conference live this morning. Sark was talking about the fact that Arch Manning's really hurting and holding back the Texas offense because he will not run the play as it is designed. And I think that's absolutely crippling Texas right now. And what it's really doing, in my opinion, is hurting Texas's defense more than anything, because you're seeing a lot of 3-and-outs. You're seeing a lot of touchdown throws that were missed. He overthrew at least two receivers in the UTEP game. Obviously, he missed 3 touchdown throws in the Ohio State game. Jake, how much blame do you put on Arch Manning for how much Texas has struggled?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, Arch is a guy that is facing the inevitable battle of, a massive amount of hype while also being largely unproven. And, I think that, we're not seeing anything we haven't seen with other guys. I think, obviously, as you just said, Sark pointed out that, he's not running the play the way it's designed to be run. And, he's not running the offense the way it's supposed to be run. And I think that's a side effect of being very inexperienced. I think that, if you put yourself in this guy's shoes, your first game, your first start is against the best defense in the country, where everybody wanted to rip you and say that you sucked and, and just get after you. And ultimately, I just sit here and I say, like, look, man, the kid's got all the expectations in the world, man. The kid has the weight of the college football playoff on his shoulders. And yeah, it was good for them to beat UTEP, but the reality is he needs development. He needs to continue to develop. He needs to continue to work hard and get better and get game reps in, because ultimately, and this has been well documented, he's playing the best competition he's ever played in his life. So I just think that we're in a place with Arch where where everyone's going to be quick to criticize this guy and dig this guy's grave. And all I'm saying is that this guy's got talent. He's clearly capable. But he needs time. And ultimately, you're never going to catch me sitting here saying the kid sucks or that somehow he doesn't deserve the spot that he's in or somehow he's not one of the best quarterbacks in the country. I just think he needs time, and that will help him a lot.
Well, he's not one of the best quarterbacks in the country right now, certainly. I think we are going into the last couple of weeks of September here, and Arch Manning hasn't played a good game yet. And I think that's significant based on who the competition is. You could almost write it off after the Ohio State game, and I don't even have a problem with that. The last 2 weeks, he's been terrible. He was not good against UTEP. That interception that I tweeted out, I thought was a really good example of it, but the ball that was tipped on the sideline, I tweeted the video out, like, he refuses to throw the football away. He refuses to take the play that the defense is giving him. I mean, he runs the tracker on ESPN the other night had him running 87 yards and then throwing a ball across his body back to the middle of the end zone, which of course was intercepted. That doesn't work ever. That's not, hey, I'm just trying to be, hero ball. That is you making massive mental mistakes. Arch Manning is a real problem for the Texas Longhorns, because what I'm telling you is not a problem is that defense. Texas's defense, in my opinion, is legit. I think Texas has a top 2 defense in the country. After what we saw week 1 against Ohio State, I am not going to question Ohio State is the best defense in the country. But goddamn, what I saw at Texas against UTEP, they weren't even breaking a sweat defensively. I think Texas is an elite defense. Arch Manning will be the difference between Texas going to the college football playoff and not. It is as simple as that. And if Texas wants to go to the college football playoff, Arch is going to have to figure it out. That is for certain. And then you have what I think is one of the most shocking situations that I've seen in some years, and that is K-State. K-State's season is over. I told you on Friday when we were doing the show that whoever loses the game in Tucson is going to have a real steep hill to climb. K-State lost that game, and Avery Johnson looks incompetent. He looks like a guy who simply has no idea what he should be doing with the football. He looks like a guy who does not want to throw the football. He would much rather tuck it and run. And I'm not trying to be redundant here. I'm truly not. But how many weeks are we going to sit here and have K-State fan come into the chat and say that I just hate K-State? I hate Avery Johnson. I don't know ball. I'm fat, dead Mormon who's about to die. Like, all of it. Totally get it. It's an SEC show. You're a Jayhawk fan. Whatever it is you need to say, K-State fan, to make yourself feel better. Today's not that day, because I'm looking at a bunch of numbers, and having watched a lot of that game, Jake, I am as convinced as I have ever been that, yes, I think there are systematic problems at K-State. Avery Johnson is much bigger than any other problem that they have.
Yeah, and I just think that it's Arizona. Like, it's not like it's some amazing team. And the reality is you didn't score a touchdown in the second half. Like, I don't know, or you didn't score a touchdown in the fourth quarter, I guess that'd be. But like, ultimately, I just don't. The conversation just hasn't changed. It's tired. Like, this team is at a point where we don't really need to talk about them week in and week out anymore. I don't really need to wonder, oh, well, is K-State going to go to the CFP? No, they're not. They're not. And I hope that K-State gets as much hate for this embarrassment of a season as Utah got last year, because everybody and their mom was saying K-State was going to win the conference, and now they're 1-3. So I'm just trying to understand. I'm trying to understand at what point do we level the playing field and say, yeah, you know what? Like, Avery's not that guy. Avery needs to transfer to get to a better situation. And maybe it wasn't Will Howard. Maybe it was this coaching staff, and maybe the program needs a reset, because this was supposed to be a CFP year and you're 1-3. Like, it's not rocket science to say, yes, your season's over. You have no chance. And hey, we'll see you in the Pop-Tart Bowl. Like, that's what, that's what this season's about. Like, that's it. And I don't know what this box score is. I don't know. Avery Johnson's supposed to be some world-beating quarterback, and you're 13-29 for 88 yards. Well, not in the quarter, in the game. Like, what is that, dude?
Yeah,
What is that?
I think the bigger story, frankly, if we're being honest, is that Avery Johnson accounted for a grand total of 72 yards in total offense. Avery Johnson accounted for 72 yards of total offense.
Well, Monty, what do you mean? He threw for 88. Yeah, you heard the man right. That would be minus 16 yards rushing. Nice.
I don't even know how you. I mean, I just don't know what you. Yeah, what do you? I mean, that's if you're a K-State fan, that's your theme song today.
Yeah.
But I don't even know what to do with 72 yards total for a game out of the quarterback. I don't. There's no fixing that.
And I agree with you.
Not.
I agree with what the comments are saying, right? We have I think it was Two Pants saying that they're a 2 minute they're a 2 minute drive away from being over. That's true.
Yeah.
That's facts. Like it's not like you dominated in your other games. So I'm telling you, like this conference this year is going to be lucky to get one. And when I say lucky, obviously they get one.
Well,
but,
okay, so you're saying the one is then going to be Oak State?
Yes. Because we all know that Luscious Locks Avery Johnson is going to hop into the portal and ship everything over to Schoolwater and save Gundy.
Do you believe that? Do you think that Avery Johnson's going to leave K-State? Because I think if you're K-State, you're leaving Avery Johnson.
Yeah, I mean, I if I'm the brass at K-State, I'm leaving Avery Johnson. I'm leaving that coaching staff. Like I'm resetting the program. There's no excuse for this level of play. And hear me clearly. If it was, hey, the rest of the team's playing well, we're executing in 2 of the 3 phases, defense and special teams, and the offense is really, being hampered by Avery, then you would not be 1-3. You would most likely, you would most likely have another win.
I'm just gonna, and I'm not trying to pile on this, and I've tried to avoid, and I think if you guys have watched the show, I think you know that I have tried to avoid this and saying this. The Big 12 is not good at football, and I think that's not groundbreaking. Right. But when we start looking at where this conference is, you are in real trouble. You are in a situation where if you didn't have an auto bid, you wouldn't be getting a team in the college football playoff if it were today. Now, I think that Utah is one of the 10 best teams in the country. I think based on what we saw over the weekend, and Jake just does not seem to give a rat's ass about the fact that, yes, Utah was up 3-0 at the half. They absolutely dominated Wyoming. The mistakes that Utah made in that first half, you can write that off to this fly that is torturing me is more disciplined than Utah was in the first half. Mm-hmm. I think Utah just came out sleepwalking, and I get it. It's a trap game. It's tough to get up for that game when you're looking ahead. But I look at some of the numbers out of this game. Devin Dampier is I don't know how to heap more accolades on top of Devin Dampier. 230 passing, 27 of 41, 2 touchdowns, runs for 86 yards. I mean, he spread the football around the offense because the one thing that is very clear is you don't have a number 1 wide receiver at Utah. You're trying to find that. But you start looking at Dallin Bentley. Dallin Bentley is arguably the best tight end in the conference right now as far as production goes, lethality. He looks great. JJ Buchanan with the touchdown catch looked really good. You look at Ryan Davis. He looks really good. And then I don't even know what else. Again, maybe I just need to go to the doctor because my throat's going to be sore after I am done knee padding Utah's defense.
Sucking a ding dong.
Yeah. Hey, listen, if we're sucking ding dongs, I'm doing it on Utah's defense because it's not close. That's easily the best defense in the Big 12. And I think it's top 5 in the country. And I look at, hey, dude, I look at the way that this defense got after the first three quarterbacks that they have faced, and I look at the numbers, and I look at like Caden Anderson for 108 yards. And did I mention that on top of that, a team in Wyo that runs all over everybody only averaged 3-point yards per rush and 121 yards total? That's unbelievable against Wyoming. And then you understand again that they average 4.7 yards per pass. Utah's defense was dominant. And I can go back through, even if you go back to the UCLA game. Now, I understand, and we're going to talk about UCLA in a second, but I understand that it's UCLA, but you can't fault Utah for who they've played. It's not like they're in the Big Ten and they're playing your mom's sewing circle. You look at the dominant fashion that Utah's defense wore against UCLA, and you look at Lander Barton, you look at the fact that they had 4 sacks against Ema Liava, your mama. This defense is amazing. And the way that John Henry Daly's playing, he's not even your best defensive player, and his numbers are unbelievable. I can't heap enough praise on top of Utah. And I think this is the travesty. And if you're Utah, you're such a bad football conference right now that Texas Tech and Utah are going to play at 10 a.m. And I know you're probably tired of hearing me bitching and moaning about this. That game should not be kicking off at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. It's not fair. It's not right, but you deserve what you've earned. And a 10 a.m. kickoff for the biggest game of the year in the conference, Jake, I think that's what the Big 12 has earned.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. I mean, obviously Fox is making it the big noon kickoff game, and there's going to be a lot there, and that's all fine and dandy and everything. I mean, I think the problem is that the more things change, the more they stay the same at Utah, right? Like, obviously, my biggest issue is, you showed up in the second half, but again, so it's okay it's okay for this team to do that against Wyoming, but if you do that against Tech, you're going to find yourself behind in the game.
Did they do that against UCLA?
No, but UCLA is not anywhere near Tech.
Okay, right. But again, this is they can only play who's been in front of them. If you're Texas Tech, and most people who don't watch the Big 12 are going to tell you, oh, Texas Tech's the best team. Tell me you don't know shit about the Big 12 without telling me. Because you look at Texas Tech, and people are excited about their numbers. They've played Arkansas, Pine Bluff, Kent State, and a really bad Oregon State team. I mean, a really bad Oregon State team. You haven't played anybody. And I look at, again, you can only play who you choose to put in front of yourselves. I give Utah a lot of credit. That UCLA game was on the road at the Rose Bowl, and they started what was an avalanche downhill for Deshaun Foster, who is now fired, as we're going to talk about in a second. I don't think there's any doubt, and I understand. I hate the line in this game that Utah's only a 3.5-point favorite with a 57.5-point under. Come on now. With a 57.5-point over-under, that's ludicrous as a line. Because I think, yes, I believe this is going to be somewhere in the, somebody's going to score in the 30s and somebody's going to score in the high 20s. But nothing that Texas Tech has seen has prepared them for Devin Napier, who, again, everybody told me can't throw the football and told me is not a dual threat. He's only a runner. You understand he's thrown the football 89 times. Do you know what his completion percentage is? On 89 throws, he's completing 73% of his passes. For a guy that a lot of people in the summertime told me couldn't throw a football and was not going to be able to carry an offense. Well, all he's done is thrown for 628 yards and 7 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He's been sacked twice. He's rated 158. And then you look at his rushing numbers. He's got 200 rushing yards. He's averaging 6 yards a carry, and he's got a touchdown. Devin Nampier's the real deal. This offense is the real deal. And there is no question in my mind that Texas Tech has seen nothing that even resembles Devin Napier.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that completely. Yeah, I mean, I think that, it's unrealistic to to, expect, your defense to hold down an offense the quality of Utah's. I also think that, while we're talking about quarterbacks, Baron Morton, I just don't see him completing 70% of his passes against Utah's defense the way the way he has been this season against other defenses, obviously. And so I don't know, man. I know that you're not really here for the conversation about a slow start against Wyoming, but I
just don't understand one. And I guess we'll just run our faces into each other. I watched every snap of that game. They did not have a slow start. They did not have a slow start. They committed penalties. They made mistakes. They did not start slow. The offense was fine. The defense was dominant. They made mistakes. They looked like they were simply not. They weren't there for the game. They were overlooking Wyo in the first half. I felt like at least offense. They did not start slow. My whole point is, I don't care. Their only job was to go to Laramie and look dominant. They looked dominant. The defense was dominant. The offense was dominant. Napier was dominant. I have no qualms. I am not at all worried about what I saw. The thing that I look at when I look at Utah versus Texas Tech is that you have a lot of question marks about Texas Tech's defense. And the thing that worries you, and I think this is clearly a one-score game, right? There's not enough measurable between these two rosters. And if you look at the guys who've gotten the bulk of the reps, there's not much that separates these rosters offensively. Utah is significantly better defensively. Some questions about their coverage. We're going to find out how good they are in the secondary, right? There's some questions there. But I think when I look at the way that Devin Napier has thrown the football, one of the things that I don't think a lot of people look at is Baron Morton is performing right about the same level as Devin Napier. Nampier's more accurate, but Baron Morton's got 11 touchdowns. Okay. Right. Okay. I'm down for that. That's an offense built to throw the ball down the field. Utah's is not. I'm telling you, the offenses are very close. What will win this game will be if Utah's defense is as good as I think it is. I don't know how in Salt Lake City at 10 in the morning, which is ridiculous, at altitude, I think it's going to be very, very difficult. We see this all the time. I think we saw it with Baylor. I think we've seen it with all kinds of teams that come into Salt Lake City. It's very difficult to compete in the first two quarters. You get to halftime and you can recover. The first two quarters are absolutely hell on your lungs. And I think that's probably what's going to separate this game.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think the 3.5 line, the 3.5 point favorite to Utah is a little light. I mean, I do think that they'll be able to cause turnovers in this game defensively. I think that it's not so much the coverage, in my opinion, as it is the scheme you're going to run against a quarterback who clearly can throw the football. What they need to do is they need to fool Baron Morton. What they need to do is they need to show him things that he hasn't seen a lot of this season, right? You need to show him interesting looks. You need to utilize one of the best defensive lines in college football against a quarterback who likes to throw the football. Like that's how you start to play, or that's how you start to get in the heads of guys. And I think you'll see a lot of that from Utah. But I would see Utah is probably a full touchdown ahead in this game if I was picking it today. I think everything from you're playing it at home in Utah to the defense is pretty much always shows up to the fact that, if you're Texas Tech and you watch that offense, there are some days where Baron Morton is really accurate. And then there are other days where he takes some risk and he's not so accurate. So which Baron Morton are we going to get? Well, when you're on the road playing at 10 a.m., I would say that the odds are he may have a couple of bad throws. That may happen. So I think 3.5 is light.
Yeah, I think you look at the biggest question will be, the biggest question to me is going to be the defenses, because I just feel like Utah has played significantly better competition and they have almost the exact same numbers defensively. So Texas Tech, I think has played well below the level of competition that Utah's played. And you only have 9 sacks. And the other thing that you look at a little bit is how aggressive is Utah's defense? Well, Utah's defense really gets after the quarterback. And you look at the pressure numbers, and there's no doubt Utah is pressuring the quarterback at a much higher level than Texas Tech is. And that's, you look at the interceptions and you look at the numbers. You look at Utah's got 4 interceptions in 3 games for 127 yards and a pick 6. And that is wild when you consider that Texas Tech in 3 games has 4 interceptions, 62 yards, and a pick 6, right? So you're putting up the same numbers against much better competition. I think Utah's defense is just yards better. And I spent a good bit of my time last night looking at what separates these two teams. And we'll get into it as the week goes on, but what separates these two teams is not much offensively, and I think a whole lot defensively. So we're going to find out who are those wide receivers. Can Texas Tech truly run the football against an elite defensive line and linebackers that are here for violence? Because there's no doubt when you watch Utah's linebackers are those dogs that just love to come and get that ass. Like, they don't care. They're here for it. All right, before we get to UCLA, you might as well just play the piano music because Notre Dame's 0-2. And again, I know I don't watch ball. I don't know anything about college football. I'm too hard on Notre Dame. I'm too biased. How many mistakes is Marcus Freeman going to make that are going to cost this team a game? How many mistakes? Jake and I were texting. Again, I'm an obsessive Notre Dame fan. I watched that second half snap by snap now. Marcus Freeman, in my opinion, had 6 really bad moments in the second half. A late substitution caused a blown coverage on 3rd down that leads to a 1st down. They go down and score. The big one is the timeout at the end of the game. And when it happened in the moment, I was like, okay, well, you're trying to get your best personnel on. You let them line up. You wanted to see what they were going to line up in. Okay. Well, A&M came out in the exact same formation and did the exact same thing, and you didn't stop them. Never mind that you lost because you couldn't execute an extra point. Never mind that your quarterback threw an unbelievably bad interception. And I'm just going to continue to say this week in and week out. I said it the second half of last year. I was in with Marcus Freeman the first half of last year. And then the Northern Illinois loss, you kind of started looking at it like,
Notre Dame, our mother.
Well, there was some really weird decision-making in that game. Okay. And then it's just like everybody put more icing on top of the cake is burnt underneath, right? Like, it's charred. Your mom sucks at baking cakes, but that's okay because she puts really nice frosting on top of it.
The biggest load that we've seen.
Buttercream. And who doesn't like buttercream frosting? So you went on and kicked the shit out of everybody else on your schedule. You go to the college football playoff, you have a nice run, and you get completely outclassed by Ohio State. Okay. And what did I tell you? Bad timeouts, bad turnovers, not making plays.
Oh, but it's national championship, Monty. He's fine.
You're running the same one route for Jordan Greathouse all through the playoff, all through the postseason. Like, constantly in the wrong formations, constantly the wrong personnel groups. What have we seen this year in the 2 losses? Guys on the field not making plays. They've lost their edge defensively. We need to, right now, let's make this really clear about Notre Dame. Stop saying Notre Dame's elite defensively, because they're not. They got chewed up by a mediocre Miami offense. Then you got absolutely dominated by Texas A&M, who does not have a top 10 ranked wide receiver, and you could not cover them. And it's not like your best defensive players were out, right? That was Schuler got hurt. I agree, he went out. Your best corners were in this game. So let's stop saying, well, Monty, Aiden Schuler. Okay, that's cool. Aiden Schuler was out. Was he out when the Miami Hurricanes made one of the greatest catches most people have ever seen? It wasn't a catch, but it was ruled a catch. He was right there and he bought a ticket, or he should have, to watch that play happen. Let's stop saying that Notre Dame's an elite defense, because they're not. And when you start looking at this group in the secondary, there's no excuse on this planet for Christian Gray to be just burnt toast, because he is getting crushed every time in big moments. They're not going away from Christian Gray. They're going after Christian Gray, because they know you can't go after Leonard Moore. They did not. Not one time did Leonard Moore get beat. When A&M needed a pass, where did they go? Christian Gray. And I agree, Aiden Schuler being out of the back end of the defense made absolutely no difference, because it's not like you got thumped in back.
Well, Schuler leaving the game is why Notre Dame went to man a lot in the second half, right? I mean, that was the great game-changing adjustment for the defense, right?
Why did we go man? Because this team isn't coached well enough to play good zone. Miami ate in zone. You had, I can go on and on. I'm telling you right now, CJ Carr is incrementally improving. You are seeing a quarterback now that he doesn't know where to run. He has no idea where to escape pressure. But he's now capable of throwing the football and being accurate. And he's a true freshman. Trust me when I say prom night last year, he was still trying to figure out how not to get caught down in the living room at Jenny's house.
I need to go home.
Yeah, I'm totally fine with that. This is a kid who's improving. So it's not CJ Carr's fault anymore. The play calling was much better. You ran the ball much more effectively. The offense isn't the problem, right? And I can only sit here and tell you, you scored 40 points and lost. The offense isn't the problem. You've scored 64 points in 2 games, and you're 0-2. Do you know why? Because you've given up 68. You're not good defensively. Let's stop buttercream frosting the shit show that is Notre Dame football. Marcus Freeman, not all due respect. Marcus Freeman's not good enough to be the head coach at Notre Dame. And we need to stop making excuses. And you know what the single biggest problem is now? Purdue and Arkansas and Boise State and North Carolina State. And then you get USC. And then it's at Boston College and Navy and Pitt, who, what the hell happened to Pitt this weekend? Syracuse and then Stanford. We don't play anybody.
Let me give you an opportunity to answer this question while you're talking about the schedule. So are you saying 10-2 is a bad season for Marcus and Notre Dame?
When you start 0-2 against the only 2 teams that probably mattered on your schedule, yeah, I would. It's not that you're 0-2. You're not disciplined. You're terrible defensively. You don't cover at all. This was supposed to be, and if you go back before week 1, I even said it. How many times? This was supposed to be the best secondary in the country.
Y'all feel me?
It is arguably the worst secondary in the country right now. They can't cover in zone. And when Aiden Schuler's out of the game, they don't have a safety who can help in man. Christian Gray is getting torched. Like, you're just going through this whole situation where you had big turnover defensively. Xavier Watts isn't back there, and you're not playing a shitty quarterback like Drew Aller, who doesn't know that you can't throw it to the other team, right? So you're actually having to cover man now, and you can't do that. So you're playing a lot more zone, and you can't do that. So you're just giving up points left and right. And unless it is, again, average-ass quarterback throwing interceptions, you're going to lose the game. And they're losing the games. And it's not that you're 0-2, it's that you're poorly prepared. It's that you don't have a quarterback who can score 42 when the other team scores 41. You won't run the football consistently. Your quarterback is a freshman who's being counted on to win you games. And my fear is we're going to run through this schedule, and you lose 3 games on this schedule. Marcus Freeman shouldn't have to be fired. He should resign because you don't play anybody. He won't. And my fear is they won't fire him. But what excuses are we going to make when this is one of the worst defenses in college football this year?
That it's a hangover from the national championship game.
Well, that's cool for game 1. That's not cool for game 6.
Okay, you lost one of
the defenses in the country.
You lost one of the best safeties on your team to the NFL. That's why your defense sucks.
Yep, but you're Notre Dame, and your best safety on your roster, Aiden Schuler, refused to hit a guy or catch a football, and it cost you the first game of the year. And then your alleged best corner can't cover, and your linebackers are wildly overrunning their gap assignments. Like, I don't know how many fucking times are we going to overrun a gap assignment against Texas A&M? How many times are we going to be out of position and the quarterback's just going to take off, roll out of the pocket, and throw the football? Notice they weren't. Did you see Connor Wegman rolling right? Was he getting out of the pocket and just, oh my God, he is crushing everybody in the secondary? Nope. Or excuse me, Marcel Reed. Marcel Reed is not rolling right. He's rolling left because who's on that other side? Christian Gray. Hello? I'm telling you now, this is an issue where you gave up. How do I say this out loud? How do I say this out loud? You gave up 360 passing yards to Marcel Reed, who, for all intent and purposes, just had his career game against you. Like, does it not register that you're not good at defense? He just had arguably the best game he's ever had. Put up 297 against Auburn last year. Oh, no, that's not the coup de grace. It's 360 against what is supposed to be the best secondary in the country. Yeah, no, we're not doing it.
But this was at A&M, right, Monty?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. A&M on the road at the stadium. This was at. I just don't know how many more times we're going to make excuses.
It's unacceptable. I mean, it's unacceptable, dude.
He is going to be this guy who keeps his job because people like Marcus Freeman. He played for the Bears, Monty. Give him time. It's Notre Dame. We don't have time. Because the other problem is the guy that you ran out of town, in Brian Kelly, who I agree probably needed to be replaced. Well, he took the job at LSU, and he's lighting people up for not running hard. And I don't see Marcus Freeman lighting anybody up. And I don't see Marcus Freeman getting in anybody's ass about not running hard when you allow the quarterback to get 3 extra yards on the sideline without hitting him. I really struggle with it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any question that Marcus Freeman, like in terms of personality and fit, I mean, he's definitely a coordinator, not a head coach. And I don't think that really anybody disagrees with that. I think the problem is that you can't have a situation where this defense is terrible and the offense is mid and still scores 40 points and you lose the game. And
on a dropped extra point snap
out of a guy, and this is what really pissed me off about it. This is what pissed me off about the PAT drop. So I'm watching the game and I'm like, all right, hey, it happens. But then you're like, but hold on. Who dropped the ball? Do you guys know who dropped the ball? Well, he was a young guy, right, Monty? No, this was not a young guy, dude. Tyler Buckner is not a young dude, bro. No, he's not. That's a flat out mistake.
Tyler Buckner is a guy that's left Notre Dame, then come back to Notre Dame, plays lacrosse, has never dropped a snap on an extra point. Never. Oh, well, Monty, it's going to happen. I mean, no, it's not. Anyway, and you know the worst part about it? This right here. This is what big-time college football looks like. When you have a game where two Titans are punching each other in the face, Georgia-Tennessee is the most entertaining game I've seen all year. And I am thrilled that I decided not to play 18 holes. I am thrilled that I got home and watched this game, and this was one of the most entertaining football. I think it's one of the most entertaining football games in the SEC in the last 2 years. And it just leaves me scratching my head. I can't believe Tennessee lost that game at Neyland. And what did I say last week? Don't question Kirby Smart. It's not good for your health. It is not to write off Gunnar Stockton, who, and you figure it out because I can't. I have no idea where he figured out how to throw a football like this, because some of those tight window throws, Monty.
Yeah. I need to catch the damn ball.
Well, he really slipped it in there on a frozen rope, Monty.
You guys ready for 23 of 31, 304, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions? That's Gunnar Stockton. He won them the game. And I feel terrible for Joey Aguiar, because Joey Aguiar had the game of his life, second only to if he was playing Notre Dame. But Joey Aguiar, 24 at 36, 371 and 4 scores, and they lost. And they lost at home. Tennessee lost at home with a quarterback for 371. With Star Thomas running all over Georgia, they lost. It was an incredible football game.
Dude, you lost because you allowed it to come down to the kicker. That's why you lost the game. Overtime had nothing to do with it, in my opinion. Once it went to overtime, you were going to lose. But you had this
might be
game.
Very true. Yeah.
I thought Aguilar played really well. I thought that this game was a classic SEC game in the sense that Tennessee gets off to a great start, looks amazing, punishing Georgia. Georgia comes out in the second half, returns the favor, gets right back in the game, blow for blow, absolutely incredible. And then it comes down to a 42-yard kick from the left hash, and Buddy the kicker can't make the kick. And then
I can't believe that.
And then to make it worse, you come right back out in overtime and make the very same kick, which ultimately didn't mean a damn thing because Georgia simply went right down the field and punched it in for a touchdown. And yes, that was not even close. It was a touchdown all day long. So,
are people really questioning that?
I saw a lot of people questioning that, but it's a touchdown all day. I'm
looking at some of the throws. Gunnar Stockton made really good throws, you guys. Like I don't even know how you explain it. He made really good throws, and I'm just really, am I being an ass about it? Like, I'm really surprised he was able to operate this way at Neyland, on the road, Tennessee, Rocky Top, checkerboard, huge game. Do you guys understand they almost combined for 1,000 yards?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's 998. That was incredible. Yeah. It's wild to me. So I thought that was the game of the year. Was that your game of the year so far?
I think so far that's definitely number one. I mean, I really enjoyed the LSU Clemson game. That was a nice back and forth. I guess, and here's the red ass in me. I thoroughly enjoyed the ass kicking of Gundy just on premise alone. It's not in the contender for game of the year, but just out of pure enjoyment, that's definitely a highlight on the list.
Oh my God.
But I think that, ultimately what this comes down to is again, it's that to me is two really good football teams, man. I mean, I know that people had doubts about Joey Aguilar, but he played his ass off, dude. And I think, Neyland is an incredible environment. It's just incredible. And, I guess I just look at it and I say, like, there's nothing like that in any other conference, in my opinion. Even the Big Ten, even the Big Ten with Ohio State, Penn State, or like the Penn State whiteout game, or, whatever matchup you want to look at. I just felt like this was a game where you're like, yeah, man, these are two really capable football teams. And I was sitting there watching, and I was like, yeah, dude, Joey, you just threw 2 picks. You just gave him two extra possessions, and you lost by 3 points.
Yeah.
Like, maybe if you hadn't, because they were not good interceptions, in my opinion. Like, they were not great. But ultimately, what did Kirby say after the game? Hey, those 2 picks, I wish we would have done more with those possessions so we didn't need to go to overtime, which tells you, like, yeah, you won the game, hell of a game, but this isn't Kirby's first rodeo, obviously, and he was not, the environment, as usual, was nothing to him. It was much more of a, hey, we're just not executing the way we needed to keep this a regulation game and to win this game in a more controlled fashion, being that we got the Gunnar Stockton performance we did.
Yeah,
so,
and I think it's the point you make about this is what the SEC is. I think this is also what the Big Ten is not. And, in a really boring ass, there were no big performances. There was I thought Cal, Minnesota. I mean, that was one of the more entertaining games of the weekend. There was nothing.
But what's missing? What's missing? The implication.
You're not playing matchups.
Well, you're just not playing for anything with Cal and Minnesota. You're playing for literally nothing. You're playing because we like to watch football. That's why you're playing.
I thought it was huge. Ty Simpson's performance, I thought, was huge for Alabama to come up with that kind of game. I thought Alabama really needed that, but that was at the expense of Wisco in the Big Ten. But you look at Oregon, Northwestern, the Illinois, Western Michigan. The Epsteins were playing Villanova. Like, I mean, is that impressive? Is Ohio State sputtering along in the first half? Again, they were never in danger of losing this game, and you would expect it. And then Sayan goes for, do you guys understand? 350 and 3 scores in a game where they were not good in the first half. Like that, it's just not impressive. There's nothing that I saw in the Big Ten this week that moved me to any kind of special way. I think the SC game went exactly as we thought it would go. Now, if I am Lincoln Riley, I'm pissed off that Ryan Brown had 305 yards on us. We picked him off 3 times, right? If you're USC, but I look at some of the things that I saw out of, like, Jaden Mayava, 282, 10.1 yards per completion. Fantastic. They dominate 33-17. Like, other than that, there was no heat there.
No, I mean, the best heat of the weekend was your boy Brian Kelly absolutely losing his ass in that post-game press conference for this question he was asked, dude.
But I think you also need to go back, and I agree with Brian Kelly on this, because we're getting into a place now where if you don't win by 100, you lost the game. And I don't understand. I don't understand this. I think LSU is, and we're going to do this top 5 here in a minute. I think LSU could be as high as number 2 in the country, right? And you look at Brian Kelly. I agree. I don't understand. Before we play this, do you like this line of questioning?
I mean, I don't think it should be. That's probably not what I would be asking immediately after they just won the game, right? Like, I probably wouldn't be asking, hey, like, the question was something along the lines of, like, hey, what was up with your offense today? Like, a more wordy question, but essentially he was just asking, like, hey, like, what's going on with the offense? Because clearly Nussmeier and company are a lot more capable. 20 points felt a little light. And yeah, I would agree that, hey, maybe it's not the perfect question to ask there, but I would pose this question. If we're upset that the question is being asked, then you cannot have this standard of, hey, well, we're the SEC, we're LSU. Winning by 10 isn't really winning at that point, right? Like, you need to win, and you need to win in dominant fashion. So I don't really understand the double standard of, hey, well, we're LSU, we're kicking the hell out of everybody. But when we don't, and we get asked a question, then we're getting pissy over it. That's the part that I don't understand out of Kelly.
Agree with you. I totally disagree with you. All right, let's play the bite. Here's Brian Kelly.
Brian in the back. I know you love these immediate post-game sessions, but what are you seeing with your offense?
Stop. Really? Is that the first question? We won the game 20-10. Try another question. What do you want me to tell you? I just laid it out for you. We played the game to win the game. We played the game to win the game.
All right. How about third down then? What is going on with third down?
It's one game. Last game, we were great on third down. You're looking at this from the wrong perspective. LSU won the football game. Won the game. I don't know what you want from me. What do you want? You want us to win 70-0 against Florida to keep you happy?
No, I think people want to know why you can't run the ball, quite honestly.
We can run the ball. Did you see the last play of the game? That's all you need. You just need one. There's ridiculous questions. And I'm getting tired of it. That football team just worked their tail off to get an SEC win, and you want to know what's wrong. You know what? You're spoiled. You're spoiled. This team is 17-1 at night. 17-1. Give them some respect. How about that? Give them some respect instead of micro-analyzing every little thing. This is ridiculous. For a group of seasoned reporters, that kind of question is so out of line.
The problem, and I am no Brian Kelly apologist.
Monty.
I wish Marcus Freeman was that pissed off. I wish Marcus Freeman lived on that kind of edge. And he's right. What's wrong with the offense? What do you mean? They put up 322 total yards, 220 passing, 102 rushing, and you absolutely made Lagway look like a child in this game. Their defense dominated. He got picked off 5 times. Lagway got picked off 5 times. You made DJ like he is pissing himself in his nightmares right now. And we're asking what's wrong with the offense. I actually agree with that. Was Nussmeier fantastic? No, 220, a touchdown and a pick. They won 20-10 against Florida. It's not like they were playing like Knuckle Deep Boys in Happy Ending Valley playing Villanova. You didn't beat Villanova 20-10. You beat Florida 20-10. At what point are we like, hey, that's a good win. You didn't play your best ball offensively, but damn. Caden Durham ran for 93 yards, and I thought he was one of the best running backs in the country this week. He looked really good. This isn't, I'll never understand why we ask questions like that. I guess I just don't get it. Maybe I don't know ball, Jake.
Well, I mean, you don't watch ball. We all know that. But, I think that I guess it's just a difference of opinion. My thing would be it's poorly timed. I don't think it's inappropriate to say, hey, well, because I would contest that Florida is a quality win right now. I don't think that it's not
Florida's, Georgia, but it's not Georgia or Tennessee no. It's not one of the elites, but beating Florida is a good win.
Yeah, I mean I would say it's a sexy win in the sense that, hey, we beat Florida. Like when you say that, it's like, yeah, Florida's a solid program, but the point is just that don't lead with that question, right?
I would agree.
Ask a positive question. Hey, what did your defense do well today? You held them to 10 points. You picked off Lagway 5 times. Like, what did your defense do well today? And then follow up with, well, hey, I noticed that, obviously Nussmeier and company didn't have their best week this week. You still won the game, but is there anything there that you'd like to see improvement on? It's really not about the question. It's really more just about the wording. And if you carefully listen, and I haven't seen anyone point this out yet, he started the question in kind of a snarky manner when he said, hey, Brian, I know that you love these post-game press conferences right after the game.
Because Brian does not. And he did this at Notre Dame regularly. And if you watched him like I watched Paul Feinbaum. Sorry, it's something caught in my throat. If you watch BK on Feinbaum, he laughed at himself a little bit. He also got absolutely vaporized on the sideline. I don't know how many people saw that. Like, one of the LSU guys was driving a Florida player out of bounds off the ball, and they absolutely steamrolled BK into the. But listen, just look at how pissed off Brian Kelly is.
Brian in the back. I know you love these immediate post-game sessions, but what are you seeing with your offense?
Stop. Really? Is that the first question? We won the game 20-10. Try another question.
And you know what? And I should have gotten this for today. I didn't think of it, but this harkens back to the clip of him like banging on the table and like GDing the press conference. Like, dude, the bottle of water has feelings as well, dude. Like, let's not kill anything.
Look at how he stops his motion with the bottle of water.
Brian in the back. I know you love these immediate post-game sessions, but what are you seeing with your offense?
Stop. Really? Is that the first question? No,
I'm not. No, I'm not drinking this water now.
I wish. But again, and this is you don't know what you don't know what you've lost until you find it, right? I wish Brian Kelly was still the head coach at Notre Dame over Marcus Freeman. I do. I was not upset when BK left. I miss him because I miss the fire. I miss Brian Kelly walking up to the quarterback. CJ Carr throws a terrible interception. Oh, it's okay, buddy. We'll get him next time. Go Irish. No, fuck no. What are you thinking? Right? Like that's like you look at in Trevor Lawrence yesterday, right? Look at Trevor Lawrence waving off his coach. I would rather have that by CJ Carr than having to good job. It's okay. Listen,
Thoughts and prayers for your next pass.
Listen, our mother, right? Listen.
Notre Dame, our mother.
Okay. It's okay, buddy. It's okay. I know that you should be playing at Michigan, and your grandpa was a shitty ass average coach, and you're a shitty ass average quarterback, CJ. But
fuck you, you suck.
It's okay, buddy. Those interceptions that you should never have even thought about throwing that ball, but you're too stupid to figure it out. That's what I need instead of it's okay, buddy.
That's what fucking ticks me to fuck off.
Just make sure you ask Jesus to forgive you in confession that you're probably not going to go to because you're a bad Catholic after that throw.
So right? I said, yeah.
I want somebody who's fired up. Like, is that really your first question? I need that guy. I never thought I would say that. That's how bad it is at Notre Dame, but it's fine.
I'll try to stay calm and not curse.
It's fine. All right, let's get some of your comments in here. You're probably tired of hearing me talk already. Virginia Tech, UCLA have the balls to fire their coach except for Oak State. Let's get into UCLA because we have some really good sourcing on this. First question right out of the box. Is UCLA a good job? Now, obviously, you're starting to hear the leaks and you're starting to hear the rumors about what UCLA has been as a job. And it's not been a good job. And I think I have been brutally honest with you when I have said this. Any league that adds UCLA will have to carry their football department. Right? We talked about this. Talked about this when the Pac-12 melted down. I've been really consistent on this. UCLA does not care to win football games. It wants to talk about John Wooden and Lou Alcindor and, which is fine until it became a thing where football has to win games. And now it's very interesting that you have fired Deshaun Foster and it appears nobody believes this is a good job. And then you make some phone calls, and I was talking to some folks over the weekend in Los Angeles. So I happen to know a ton of people in that community, the SC UCLA community. I probably have 30 people in my life very close to those programs. And of course, UCLA now is going all in on football. UCLA, I think when you get to this point, and I think they were at this point last year, you fire a coach after 3 games, you were not at this point just because you lost your 3rd game. They knew they made a terrible hire in Deshaun Foster halfway through last year. And now you're in a situation where you had no choice. You had no choice. UCLA, according to our sources, is, and they are spending significantly more money. There is no doubt their uniform package is significantly better than it's been in years. Obviously, that new deal for them helps a lot. But you start looking at the way that that job is coming up in conversations now. Jake, I just don't know that the next guy can succeed. I think the guy after the next guy will succeed.
I don't. That's a perfectly fine take. I don't think that there's a head coach that can succeed in their program right now. You could hire Nick Saban and he would not succeed unless you gave him the things that you need to succeed in today's market. I don't believe that it's any longer just an X's and O's decision, right? It's no longer, hey, well, does this guy have pedigree? What's this guy's resume look like? Like, was this guy good at his G6 job 10 years ago, or what is he doing now? Like, it's not about that anymore exclusively. Like, yeah, that stuff is important, and sure, the personality and pedigree of your candidate is always going to be what everyone looks at first. But the things that I'm looking at now are essentially money. Like, let's look no further than the Nico situation, right? I mean, you're now in a situation where a kid came to your school because he couldn't find better opportunity after he got bad advice. So he's making less money than he thought he could get on the open market. Now his head coach is fired, and now there's rumors that about this coach or that coach and who's going to come in. I mean, it's the worst of the worst situation if you're a potential head coaching prospect looking at the situation. Hey, Nico, are you staying or are you leaving? Do I want to deal with that situation? Do I want to deal with the California vibe and culture and just everything that goes into being the head coach at a basketball school?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it's not it's strong. A lot of people are saying, oh, well, this is like just a garbage opportunity. It's not a garbage opportunity, but let's not sugarcoat.
You
right?
You got the DEA coming after you. What's going on over there?
No, I think it's ICE actually. I think rolling down the street, but anyway, it's not a crap opportunity. The opportunity is good for a candidate that is not expected to win national championships and is not expected to take this team from nowhere to the CFP, right? This is a job that should fit a coach who's either at the G6 level currently or maybe a coordinator at the power level who is taking that first head coaching opportunity and needs an opportunity. And the problem is, and this is my biggest fear for UCLA, my biggest fear for UCLA is they view themselves as UCLA and we're a big deal and we're really important and we're it's California. We're down the street from USC. We got to compete with Big Brother and we need to go out and get a big candidate.
Wait. I think there's a few things we have to remember. It is Los Angeles. They have one of the best apparel deals with Brand Jordan. I think their deal is worth $7 million. I mean, their brand, I think it's $7.7 million a year. That would be arguably the best deal in the SEC at this point. So they have money, right? One of the things that I think stands out is the administration willing to put the money forward to A, be part of the Rose Bowl renovation, and B, pay players. I think what you saw with Deshaun Foster this year is they were willing to pay players, which I think is a really good point. And knowing that they're out earning Florida and Arkansas and Alabama in their brand deals, they have money, right? You look at some of the deals in that league. Now you understand that you're not getting Texas's Nike deal, which was what, $250 million or something stupid like that. That's not happening. But you're outdrawing just about everybody else money-wise in the SEC on your brand deal. And now if it is in fact true that administration is willing to pay players to win games, I think it's true. Now, sources close to UCLA have told us that Spencer Danielson and Kalani Sitake are their top 2 candidates, which I think makes complete sense. It makes complete sense. I can tell you right out of the gate that they want a defensive guy who will go and get a dynamic offensive mind to run their offense. I think that's what UCLA wants. I think if they can't get one of those two, I think Garrett Riley is their 3rd and Tony White is their 4th. And I think Tony White's a very interesting guy, because I think that Tony White is somebody who has a lot of interest in other P4 jobs. Would he take the job at UCLA and leave Florida State? I have a hard time believing that. And I think that when you look at Tony White and you look at the way that defense has looked so far, I think it'd be awfully difficult for him to leave Tallahassee for Westwood. Well, I can't believe that I think Tony White, because we didn't see a lot of coaches fired last winter, right? Like a lot of us were surprised. We talked about that on the show.
Yeah, it was a pretty light cycle, no question about it.
Sure, that's one way you could put it. Absolutely. There were not the dearth of coaches fired we thought there would be. I think with a single portal, and I think with the changing face, I think you're going to see a lot more coaches fired this time around. And I think that Tony White's going to be a leading candidate for a lot of head coaching jobs, and I don't think he'd be interested in leaving Tallahassee for UCLA. I think this is going to come down to Spencer Danielson and Garrett Riley.
Why and why do you think Tony White wouldn't be interested?
You don't leave Florida State to go all the way across the country and be like, yeah, I think I'm going to leave for a non-blue blood program.
Right.
When I can stick around here and probably get first licks. He will absolutely get an interview at Florida. There is no question about that. So number one, I can get an interview for the job in state. Does he get that job? Probably not. They can't take a risk on a first-time coach. Would Tony White be a guy that could get the job at UCLA? Absolutely. No question about it. But why would you, it doesn't make sense to leave a place where you are now firmly entrenched. And if you look at the jobs he's had, right? You look at the jobs that he's had, he's going this way. And I feel like if you're going
up and to the right,
I think it's a mistake. I think it's a mistake to go from the defensive coordinator at Florida State and take the job at UCLA. I understand that he is, I understand that's he's been there. He was a GA there. He's a guy there. I totally understand it. I just don't think that you can. I don't think that you can have him leave Florida State to go to UCLA. Even though he played there, I just don't think you can do it.
Yeah, well, and I would also point out that the guy knows good football and bad football, right? If you look at his resume, obviously his time at Arizona State would tell you that he knows bad football, right? That's not in question. And I also
would agree
think
with that.
I would also point out that, being the DC, at Nebraska under Matt Rule, kind of gives you an idea of what the Big Ten kind of looks and feels like and how it behaves and operates. And yeah, I think if you're Tony White, the Florida situation is obviously a compelling reason to stay at Florida State. But ultimately, the question comes down to, for the school, UCLA, how big of a name do you need, right? Because I think this is a big part of the conversation. Like, with all due respect,
big name.
Yeah, with all due respect to Tony White, you're not a huge name. Like, if you said to a kid from, Chicago, who the hell is Tony White? Do you know Tony White at Florida? They're probably not going to know Tony White, the defensive coordinator at Florida State. And again, that's no shade to him, but I just think that if you're UCLA, and again, this is my concern, right? And I do have concerns about Kalani taking this job and what it would do for him. But like, if you look at it from UCLA's side, Like, I do think that if you're UCLA, you need a recognizable name, because what nobody ever seems to talk about with recruiting, it's always the money and the Lambos and the planes. Dude, you got to have a name that a kid would know. Like, that's why Saban was so powerful at the end. They know who you are. They know who Ryan Day is, right? And this is what was so frustrating about Dabo Swinney. Like, you know who Dabo is, and he just refuses to do it. And now he's started to do it, and they're better. So if you're UCLA, it's not good enough just to hire somebody, right?
Well,
which is what you did with Deshaun.
But Spencer Danielson's, that's why he's an interesting guy.
What do you make of the risk with Spencer Daniel? Is it fair to say that it would be a risk to hire Spencer, or would it be categorized as, hey, you got the hot, young, up and coming guy who theoretically should be able to apply his Boise State knowledge to a power job?
This is the only job he's ever had. Let's remember that. I mean, obviously his ties to Los Angeles are well known, with San Diego and Azusa Pacific. And I mean, he clearly has ties there, but the only job he's ever known is Boise State, where he came up through the ranks and, now obviously has ascended himself to being the head coach, and he's 16-4. That's not easy to do at Boise State. And I know everybody's going to say, oh, it's a Mountain West, Monty. Well, he's won the conference two times, right?
And Coach of the Year in the Mountain West.
24, Mountain West Coach of the Year last year, went to the college football playoff, put Ashton Ginty in the NFL. I think he's a guy that's really interesting. Kalani would be an unbelievable hire. The poly programs, his West Coast knowledge, his recruiting knowledge. There's a lot of people who believe that Kalani Sitake has some burnout at BYU. I think that he feels very strongly about his love for Lavelle and BYU. I think it'd be very difficult for Kalani to walk away from Provo for a job like UCLA. I think UCLA is below BYU. I think Kalani would do very, very well there. I just don't think he would leave BYU for that job. That's my opinion. I have not heard that. The folks in Provo that I know and have spoken to about this are well aware that Kalani is going to be a candidate this year. And how could he not be?
Oh, he's been a candidate every year the last, 2 years at a minimum, maybe the third year.
Yes. And I think it's just going to be really tough for UCLA to find a guy. Tony White, I don't think would take the job. And I think that, again, I am probably too much of a Garrett Riley fan. Again, I would just beg Notre Dame, please go get Garrett Riley. I think his unbelievable resume. I mean, I think the job he's done with Cade Klubnik, you look at what he did at Appy, you look at what he did at Kansas, you look at it feels like everything that Garrett Riley has touched has turned to gold. And when you are UCLA, you've got to have, I would again stress to you, if you're hiring a coach, best offensive mind you can hire to be your head coach, and then let him go find defensive guys. It's tried and true all over football. And I think UCLA wants to hire a defensive guy. That's my guess. And I don't know, in the comment section, do you guys think that UCLA is a good job? Freeman to UCLA to make Monty happy. Jimbo Fisher to Notre Dame. Look, I don't think that Marcus Freeman's a bad coach. He's not the caliber of one of the biggest programs in college football.
Yeah, listen, dude, it's not a thing to say he sucks or he's terrible. He shouldn't be the head coach at Notre Dame, because as a coach, I just don't think his skill set and his personality lends itself to head coaching. It lends itself to being an elite coordinator. And this is not unique to Marcus Freeman, right? like we had. I remember we at one point were both of us in agreement. We're dying on the Chip Kelly is a coordinator, not a head coach, man. I mean, I could even, like Matt Rule a little bit. What has Matt Rule done since Baylor? Not a lot. And you start to wonder, like, hey, dude, like which guys in modern day college football can get the damn job done and which can't? And it's just very clear that Marcus Freeman and several other guys are not head coaches that are going to take you to national championship land and win. Like, yes, I understand they went to the national championship game last year. They might as well not have played the game, dude. Like, you weren't even close. That wasn't competitive. That was Ohio State's game to enjoy and run away from you like that. Like, so for me, I sit here and I say, like, for Garrett Riley is a great case study, right? Like, obviously Garrett Riley is very accomplished, goes without saying he'd be a great hire. Like, totally get it. But are you really going to leave Clemson and the fake Death Valley to go to California to UCLA?
Well, I
can't see it, dude.
I think that Garrett Riley has to get a job this cycle, or he may not. I mean, he's ready now. He's ready now, and he is a darling candidate because of what he's done with Klubnik. Yes, I would leave UCLA, or I would leave Clemson and go be the head coach at UCLA. Because one, you're in the ACC. You're not. I mean, I look at what Miami's building. And again, I'm not the guy who tells you, like, I see a lot of people with Miami at number 3 in the country. You're out of your mind. You're out of your mind. I look at, and we're going to do our top 5 here in a minute. You're out of your mind at this point. Are they top 10? Yes. But if you look at the future of the ACC, Clemson ain't at the top of it. I'm telling you, Miami's moving in the right direction. Every year they're going to have to find a quarterback, apparently. Miami's moving in the right direction. Florida State's certainly moving in the right direction. That's going to be a tough road to hoe year in and year out. And if you're Garrett Riley and you can get a job in the Big Ten as at one of the not counted on schools where you could recruit a quarterback very easily, he can walk into any quarterback's living room in Southern California and they grow on trees out there. You can walk into any quarterback's living room and compete with Lincoln Riley. Because right now, Southern California is USC. Let's not beat around the bush. There is no argument. Los Angeles, I mean, hell, Bay Area South, Bay Area North. Cal, although Cal is doing some, I don't know if you guys watch the Cal game, they are special at quarterback. There is no question about that. But I'm telling you, Bay Area South, and dare I say, Eugene, Oregon South belongs to Lincoln Riley and USC.
How does it not?
And I think if you're Garrett Riley and you can walk in with Lincoln Riley and compete, you ought to take that job. And I think it is absolutely, without a question, if you can go head to head with your brother at USC, why would you not? Why would you not? Yeah. I think it'd be absolutely a no.
My biggest concern if I was Garrett Riley with the UCLA job, and I agree with everything you've said, but my biggest concern would be, their commitment in the long term. Like if I'm Garrett Riley, I'm going to say to UCLA, hey, if I'm going to leave my post at Clemson, a national championship contender, and I'm going to leave Klubnik, what's the commitment long term? Like, just how good do you want to be? Do you want to, because if you're Garrett Riley, you can unequivocally say that you know what it takes to recruit at the highest level, to coach inside of a program that has national championship pedigree with Dabo, right? Like you know how to do that. Like you've been a part of the process. So you can say to them, hey, like, was that just like a 1-year thing? Are you thinking that you're going to be willing to continue to spend on players? Like, I would be asking all of those questions.
Have to.
And I would not take the job unless they were just like, yep, we are all in to win in football. We are fully committed, and we just need to know what you need from us to go ahead and make progress and get to where we need to go. And if they say that, and if that's the vibe, then great, take the job, right? The guy who brings UCLA back from, the ground is going to be a hero. But again,
the problem is you haven't had anybody bring them back. I mean, I guess let's do a test of knowledge on Monty's brain. The most successful football coach in recent years at UCLA. I mean, Deshaun was a failure. He replaced Chip Kelly, who was a failure. He was a 500 football coach at UCLA. I want to say, wasn't Jed Fish before that as an interim? Oh, Jim Mora Jr. was by far the most successful coach there in recent time. Neuheisel was really successful, right? I mean, in bringing in talent, he didn't win anything, could not win a game. And then I want to say that you have to go back to I guess Terry Donahue, but that was like the 90s. Terry Donahue, rather, was in the 90s. I mean, they haven't had a successful coach in
ages.
No, Eric, he did not. Chip Kelly was, you're going to make me look it up. Chip Kelly, I'm pretty sure Chip Kelly was like a 500 coach at UCLA.
35 and 34.
35. There you go. 35 and 34. I'm trying to find a list of UCLA coaches. Okay, here we go. Deshaun Foster, 5 and 7. He only had 12 games. Chip Kelly, 35 and 34. Jed Fish was the interim. Jim Mora, 46 and 30. Rick Neuheisel, 21 and 29. But Neuheisel's win was he brought in a bunch of better talent. Didn't win a game. Carl Durrell, 35 and 27. Got whacked. Right? Absolutely not good. Ed Kazarian won. Bob Toledo, 49 and 32. And then Terry Donahue, 151 and 74. And the biggest issue is that when you look at their Pac-12 records, brutal. Rick Neuheisel was 13 and 23 in the conference. Jim Mora, 28 and 25. Chip Kelly, 26 and 25.
Painful.
So with all due respect here, Chip Kelly didn't turn shit around.
Yeah.
They were not good. Phil Venzer. Hey, Phil, how are you? Mullen built a house at Southern Highlands, kids to go to Bishop Gorman. If Mullen had P4 offered last year, turned them all down. Well, I don't know if he did or not. I think Dan Mullen was kind of the thirsty chick at the bar, right? And Dan Mullen doesn't fit in a lot of, this is why he's such a great hire at UNLV. Because to win at UNLV, you need to get every kid who's not going to USC. That's literally how you win it at UNLV. And now, since you moved into Allegiant, and Phil, let's not get into parking arguments, but since they moved into Allegiant, they've been much more able to recruit. They've made more money. They're getting their rebates if they're not profitable there, right? So Dan Mullen's a guy who everybody knows his name. His wife is going to be real handsy with you. And nothing. Okay. I need to stay hard drop. Anyway, the point is Dan Mullen, the perfect guy right now. Exactly. Dan Mullen's the perfect guy right now because Dan Mullen knows how to recruit and he knows how to navigate. He knows how to navigate that Nevada, Arizona, Southern California, small piece of Texas, because UNLV is not going to get a lot of Texas, right? But yeah, exactly right. A buddy of mine texting me, his wife is hot though. I mean,
Macaque.
The point is, Phil, you're not wrong. Nobody likes Notre Dame. I don't even like Notre Dame right now. The college game has changed on Chip at that point. I think UCLA has nowhere near the resources Oregon does.
How is Oregon coming up in this conversation?
I don't think that's necessarily true. What doesn't happen for UCLA is they don't make money on their building. And they don't have the land to build a on-campus stadium. You have to understand where Westwood is and the juxtaposition of UCLA versus where the Rose Bowl is. It is a very difficult relationship. And I think it is awfully difficult to compete in this league, especially when you have Ohio State, Michigan, the USC, obviously, right down the road, who makes significant money off of the Coliseum. I think it's very difficult when you're UCLA and your lease at the Rose Bowl, I think, runs to the middle 2040s. Like it's not short. There is, and if my memory, they can't, it's ironclad. UCLA cannot get out of their lease at the Rose Bowl, and it's really difficult. And I want to look at that before I say that out loud. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's ironclad. I just think that you've got to make $1 million on your building in football, and UCLA is not getting close to that. My guess is they'll get nowhere near that.
Yeah.
So it's really, really tough to make the case that UCLA has no resources. They have resources. Again, they have one of the best brand deals in the country. They claim now their donors and administration are in financially because they see the money they're losing. UCLA is about on par with Oregon State with what the program looks like. Right now, today, Oregon State's a better program. Although there's a lot of people who believe this situation over the weekend at Oregon State, that thing's coming apart. And I don't know how you fix it, but they're going to eat themselves, dude. They're going to eat themselves. And I think there are some real questions about where Oregon State football is going directionally and how they're going to get there. I don't know. They're 0-3 and they're off. They are really, really bad. And they didn't even put up a fight in Lubbock. Like they just. And again, I keep looking at a guy like Malik Murphy, and I say to myself, you guys realize he's got 900 yards passing already. The problem is his players don't seem to like him. They have a lot of false starts. They have a lot of guys in the wrong place, running back running into the quarterback. Like, there's just something wrong there. And this cat is throwing interceptions like that's his job. And I don't know how you fix that. So we'll see. UCLA has to do a Dion type hire. I don't think that guy exists, though. Who's that guy? Deshaun Foster? Well,
not based on the speech he gave last year.
He's not a leader, right? Like I think you look at Deshaun, the reason Deshaun Foster got hired is because he's an alum. He's a guy. He's an LA guy. And that was it. Like, he had no resume. Phil Benzer, it would take 10 years. No, not at all. That's the difference in college football right now. When you have, again, if I only point to their Jordan Brand deal, they're getting $7.7 million a year in their Jordan deal. And UCLA is one of their brand universities. So that means they get it all. Custom cleats, one-off uniforms, like they get it all. One of the issues is UCLA right now is fighting the idea of, hey, let's design a new helmet for a one-off game. No, we're not going to do that. We're UCLA. Well, it doesn't work like that. Hey, let's have a color rush jersey. Nah, it doesn't work like that. Like, I'm telling you now, that's what UCLA has to do. UCLA has to get creative, and that's interesting. TV guy listening to the show. This says, hey, Monty, I wanted to make sure you knew UCLA keeps all revenue for every football event they play at the Rose Bowl, TV included. Yeah, well, I mean, and that's a guy who knows. That's a TV executive who knows.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it would take 10 years. I think it takes imagination. Come to UCLA, play quarterback for me. I can make you a Heisman Trophy winner and put you in the NFL. Oh, I want to go play for Garrett Riley. And let's go beat my brother's ass down the freeway. I want to go, right? Like, you need imagination. You need a hire where people are like, well, goddamn, look who UCLA got. And if I got to pay him a boatload of money to do it, I got to pay him a boatload of money to do it. But I think we're in this cycle in college sports right now. We're like, he's got to have ties to the university. No, he don't. No, he does not.
No, he doesn't.
No, he does not. Right? Who's the best offensive mind in college football right now? Steve Sarkisian. Call his ass. He's not even going to answer the phone for UCLA. Right? He's just not. But you need to go do what SC did. Now, it has not worked out at all with Lincoln. But if UCLA was able to get a Lincoln Riley when he was at Oklahoma, what would that have done for this program?
A lot. A lot.
That's where I'm like, hey, got to move in the right direction. But I don't know who that guy is. I do not know who that guy is. I think it's got to be Garrett Riley. That would be, if I were UCLA, I would be all in on Garrett Riley. I would have an interim, and I would be all in on Garrett Riley. I truly would. Brandon, we are going to find out this weekend who is who in the Big 12. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Chewy Gonzalez, why is Notre Dame ranked? I have no idea. Because they get the benefit of the doubt.
Golden Domes, dude.
They're not one of the 25 best teams. I told you that 2 weeks ago.
Okay, let's talk. Let's have the conversation.
Did I not say that 2 weeks ago? This is not one of the 25
disagree. I disagree. They're not one of the best 25 teams in the country. I disagree.
With that defense, and the other problem here is you got to remember, it's a brand new defensive coordinator. Oh, that's right. Marcus Freeman's the defensive coordinator. Chris Ash is the defensive coordinator. And they're not the same killer defense they were last year. Is that on Marcus Freeman or is that on Chris Ash? I think
ultimately it's on Marcus.
Friends, but I think they're very close friends. And they're the same kind of guy. So
I don't know, man. I think it's harsh to say that Notre Dame's not one of the top 25 teams in the country. They're not top 10. I think they're somewhere between 15 and 23.
Okay,
like they're right in the middle of the pack.
You tell me, is Notre Dame better than Auburn?
Yeah,
no,
I think they would beat Auburn.
I think watching Auburn in the Baylor game specifically, but looking at some of the numbers, now they haven't played anybody since Baylor. But Jackson Arnold's actually completing 70% of his passes. Not in volume. They're not asking him to be a volume passer. You know what else he hasn't done? He hasn't turned the football over yet this year. He will. Right now, I would take Auburn. South Carolina, massively disappointing loss. They have no idea how that happened.
Right.
Notre Dame's better than South Carolina. Vanderbilt. This is
taking Notre Dame.
I don't know that you should do that. Vanderbilt dominated their all three of their opponents, like dominated them. And again, I know it's not going to be a popular take. Oh, you're just deep-throating the SEC, Marty. Diego Pavia's 73.5%, 7 touchdowns, 2 picks. And when you look at his numbers, 129 rushing yards. That offense is working. Do you guys understand that they have put up 120 points? 120 points in 3 games. Charleston Southern, okay, great. They dropped 44 on Vatek, who's now fired their coach, and 31 on a number 11 South Carolina team. I think Vanderbilt, if that game's played at Vandy, Notre Dame's losing that game. And I understand you guys might think I'm being biased. I'm not. Missouri? Do you want to make the argument Notre Dame's better than Missouri? I'm not ready to do that. They're better than Michigan. They're not better than Georgia Tech. They're not better than Utah. They're better than Indiana.
They're better than Georgia Tech, dude.
No, they are not.
Okay.
How are they better than Georgia Tech?
Because I've watched Georgia Tech, dude. Who have you beaten? Yeah, you beat Clemson 24-21.
Clemson in Colorado at Colorado.
Colorado's not a great win.
In a game where, come on.
Come on, dude. Come on. Yeah, I understand. You want to say Vanderbilt's better, cool. Georgia Tech would have to prove that on the football field. I'm not sitting here.
Haynes King in 2 games. 20-28, 211 against Clemson. And he ran for 103 yards. What's given Notre Dame fits? How'd that running quarterback look for A&M? Absolutely dominated. And then you figure out that he's run in 2 games, 44 times, 259 yards. He's averaging 6 yards a carry, and he's got 4 scores. Running the football. I'm telling you. Okay. You can have him. Texas Tech.
We'll find out Saturday.
I hate the way that Notre Dame can't cover. And I'm a huge Baron Morton guy. Tennessee's a better football team. Alabama's better. Iowa State is better. Oklahoma. That'd be a close game. Ole Miss is better. Texas A&M's better. Florida State's better. Illinois is better. Texas is better. Miami is better. Oregon's better. LSU, Georgia, Penn State. I just think those pedophiles haven't played anybody. And Notre Dame's beaten the knuckle deepers recently. So I don't know about that. And certainly Ohio State's better. They're certainly not a top 20 team. There's nobody, in my opinion, they're better than Michigan. I'll give you Georgia Tech, but Haynes King would torture us. They're not better than Utah. They're not better. Indiana. Dude, I've watched a good bit of Indiana now, and I just think that they're taking advantage of teams that have 0 talent. Like, they have played nobody. And when I say they've played nobody, Old Dominion gave them all they could handle. Week 1, okay, Kennesaw State and Indiana State. And now Illinois is coming to town. And I think Illinois is going to beat Indiana because Illinois is a mean football team. So I don't think Notre Dame's top 20. We can have the argument at the bottom of the poll, but you're 0-2. You haven't won a game yet and you're still ranked in the top 25? Come on. Come on. Who else is winless and still in the top 25?
We're not talking about anybody else. It's Notre Dame. Well, and they get the benefit of the doubt. We've talked about this. It's not in question. It's not hard to understand.
The travesty is who's not ranked. USC is a better football team than Notre Dame right now today. And they're not ranked. That's the one that really stands out to me. South Florida doesn't matter. TCU versus Notre Dame. Who wins that game? Well, that'd be fun to watch, though, wouldn't it?
I would say Notre Dame would win that game, but it'd be fun to watch, yeah.
Any team that can pass and have any kind of mobility at the quarterback is going to torture Notre Dame's secondary. That's the formula to beating them. Vandy beating number 11 South Carolina 31-7 was one of the biggest surprises of the weekend. Joseph Harper's been a member for 24 months. By the way, and I overlooked it. Thank you. Big Pana for 32. Look at that. How about that number? Toot Pants, Cale Gundy to UCLA. I think it's happening. Is Oak State James isn't here yet today, is he? Probably not. But, I think, geez, look at the bots coming out in force. Come on, Jotob, get on it already. Let's go.
Yeah.
So you think I'm just being pedantic here about Notre Dame?
No, I agree. They're not a top 20 team, but what people want to do is they want to just ignore the track record of these teams, right? Like it's not like this is not controversial, dude. When you're putting together a top 25, that's cool. That Vanderbilt can win a game in September. Where the hell was Vanderbilt last year after they beat Alabama? Where was Vanderbilt? No, there is no. If we're going to sit here and say Vanderbilt's better than Notre Dame, there is no but Monties. There is no what ifs. There is no double standard.
Bro,
if you're going to go apples to apples, then be straight up with it. Like,
do you
come
have
on.
a concussion?
No, I don't.
You're seriously asking where? Okay, here's where Vanderbilt was, bro. Here's where Vanderbilt was last year. Hey, God, give me the strength to give Jake thoughts and prayers. Vanderbilt loses to Georgia State and Missouri in double overtime last year. They lose to Texas, then South Carolina, at LSU, and Tennessee. And we're asking, where was Vanderbilt last year? They were losing after Alabama. They were losing to number 5 Texas playoffs, South Carolina, at LSU, and Tennessee playoffs. 2 of their 4 losses were to playoff teams.
So then why are we sitting here? Because what the point you're making is, oh, well, if they'd played a softer schedule like Notre Dame, they'd have been ranked ahead of Notre Dame.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
Cool. The only problem with that argument is they didn't play a softer schedule, and they proved that they couldn't beat some of the best teams in the country the way, I don't know, like some team called Notre Dame did last year.
When?
That's the difference. Penn State. You beat Penn State in the college football playoff, dude.
Playoffs are different. Playoffs are different. You said, where was Vanderbilt after Alabama? That playoffs are different. You can't shake your head and be pissed off. Playoffs are different. I agree. Notre Dame had a good run.
Okay. So let's see. You're able to beat a team like Kentucky, Ball State. You were able to beat Auburn, but you lost to all the good teams.
Yes, as did Notre Dame. As did Notre Dame. You look at Notre Dame last year, and this is my Marcus Freeman complaint. It's perfectly well that you go to Texas A&M and you win. And then you lose to Northern Illinois, and here's the cake is flat and it's burned and nobody wants to eat it. Here's the buttercream frosting. Purdue, Miami of Ohio, Louisville, good win at the stadium. Stanford, Georgia Tech, Navy, Florida State, Virginia, Army, USC. Who's the really good win on that schedule? There's probably not one. Georgia Tech is probably at that point your best win right there. Now, Indiana, Georgia, Penn State, those are good wins. They're in the playoff. Getting your doors blown out by Ohio State at that point, yeah, it sucked, but you still went to the national championship game. I don't disagree with that, but you can't, I don't know. Okay. Calford gifted 50 Monty Show memberships. How about California this past? And you guys need to get on the bandwagon. Get on the bandwagon, because when you start looking at how Cal is 3-0 right now, you can't say his name. You probably should learn how. Sagapulatelli is really good. He is. Mrs. Monty and I were sitting on the couch necking, watching the Cal game. JKS. That's what they call him out there with the hippies smoking Jake's trees. JKS Sagapulatelli. Jaron Sagapulatelli is dominating, and he is making throws that you don't understand how he does it. 6 touchdowns, 1 interception. Oregon State, Texas Southern, and Minnesota. That's real. I mean, that's impressive to me. I wish he had a higher completion percentage. But yeah, Cal looks really good, and they look like they are. All right. Well, since we're already fighting, Jake, let's do our top 5 teams in the country.
Yeah, I don't think there's much to fight about with these.
Okay. Who are the 5 best teams in college football? I'm pretty certain of my top 5. Like, I feel like when I look at Ohio State, not close, the best team in the country.
Mm-hmm.
I think I put Georgia at 2. That's a hell of a win on the road. I don't know how you paint the picture that anybody is outside of Ohio State is better than Georgia right now. I've got Brian Kelly and LSU at 3. And this is where it gets really interesting. Oregon or Miami. I think that's the 4 or 5. Because I really like what I as much as I wrote off the Oak State win for Oregon, just because I think Oak State is miserable.
They are.
I think one of the things that concerns me a little bit is Dante Moore's health. But I really like the way that Oregon's running the football right now. It's not even passing the ball. And I think they're doing a great job spreading the football around in the passing game. I really like the way they're running the football. And if you look at their defense, I think this is the weakness. I think the offense is outperforming Oregon's defense. And I only say that because Oregon has consistently offensively scored points the same way, which is doing all phases of offense well. They catch the ball well. Their route runners run the route really well. Their route combinations. I love their schematics offensively. I think that offense, and Jake, you've seen it up close multiple times now. I think Oregon's offense is completely constructed around what Dante Moore is comfortable doing. He likes that occasional deep shot, but boy, does he you can't tell me that cat doesn't love checking the ball down across. Like if he gets the ball between the number and the hash and he puts it on the receiver, he's never going to miss that throw. And their run after the catch stuff, I really like the way that they're building their route combinations and their route trees to help Dante Moore make that inward route and hit it while the guy's moving. Like you don't see him missing a whole lot of easy throws. His Dante Moore's misses usually are those deep balls, but that's a low percentage throw. I just think their offense right now is so incredibly dialed into what he likes to do.
Yeah, and I think you have a great point, right? I mean, it's a lot easier to formulate an offense for your quarterback and what he likes to do when you're able to run the football effectively. And I think that's that's what I think we've come to know Dan Lanning to be as a head coach. And I think we see it with Ohio State. I think we see it with Texas from time to time when they have to. I think you're going to start seeing it more with Texas because of Arch's struggles. Like these teams that are able to run the football and dominate the clock and time of possession inherently have a much higher winning percentage and inherently have a much easier time mitigating risk. And I think that Dante Moore is a quarterback that has this name that people are like, oh yeah, Dante Moore, like he's really good. He plays at Oregon. But when you look at him and you watch him, you're like, yes, he can throw the ball, but it's not like it's amazing. It's not like it's, man, you're one of the best throwers of the football in the country. That's not Dante Moore. Now, does he make the throws here and there? Yes, but what does he have that a lot of their quarterbacks don't have? He's got time and space in the pocket to make the throw because they run the damn football so well, or they have. Like, obviously haven't played anybody yet.
That throw between the numbers and the hash to his right, I mean, they've had so many big plays on that. And the other thing that I really, and this is why I have them 4th and Miami 5th, his ability to throw rolling to his right is only matched by his ability to throw rolling to his left. He can roll both ways and throw accurately. I love the deep ball that we saw, like against Oak State, for instance, the deep ball that we saw running down the sideline where it's right here. Like he right now, who's playing better quarterback in the country right now than Dante Moore? Like executing schematics. And I talk about this a lot because I think it's important. Who's running the play as it's designed? Not Arch Manning. I can tell you that right now. The two guys who are doing that, Julian Sayin and Dante Moore. Those two quarterbacks are running the offenses as they are designed for them to succeed. And I think when you're doing that, it just gives you so much more opportunity to succeed as a football team, because what are those two quarterbacks doing as well? They're converting, so they're keeping their defenses off the field. And you look at that defense at Ohio State, you keep that defense rested, they're going to run through everybody, right? I think some of the shortcomings, skill development wise at Oregon on defense, are being masked by the fact that Dante Moore is keeping the football. and keeping his team on the field and keeping the defense off the field. That's why I think it is going to be very difficult to beat Dante Moore. And I'll be really interested to see how he does against a supposed good defense with the Knuckle Deep Boys in Happy Ending Valley. Mm-hmm. I'll be really interested to see how that.
Well, how do they run the football? That's going to be the question.
Well, because I think the way that Oregon's run the football has allowed them to keep Dante Moore flexible. And I think that's a huge question. And I'm really interested to see how all that plays out because I have a lot of hope that Oregon can finally elevate the Big Ten, because I think SC's got a real shot with the way that they're playing and the way their defense has looked better. Not great, but better. I think the Big Ten's got a legitimate shot to put 3 in, and 3 good teams. If you get Ohio State in, Michigan's probably 2 years away from a playoff spot at this point. I think if you get Ohio State in, I think if you can get Oregon and SC in, I think you're cooking with gas. I think obviously the Knuckle Deep Boys are getting a free pass schedule-wise because, well, why wouldn't you? And I'm really hoping that those Epstein-loving fools in Happy Ending Valley, I hope this schedule comes back to get them, because they don't deserve a spot in the college football playoff. When you're beating Villanova, FIU, and Nevada, you don't deserve a spot. And if they have a single loss this year, I think it should automatically eliminate the Knuckle Deep Boys. I just think Cock on Thigh has too easy of a walk. When you get to play at UCLA, Northwestern, at Iowa, at Michigan State, Nebraska, and Rutgers, the only conflicts on that schedule are Oregon this week and at Ohio State. And you're not beating Ohio State at Ohio State.
Nope.
So I would love to see him. I would love to see them be eliminated. I think it is.
That's how it should be, but it's not.
We'll see, I guess. Right.
Yeah.
K-State Scott. Are you finally K-State fan? Are you finally on board that I was right about Avery Johnson?
No.
I'm right about everything. I'm never wrong. Jake aside, I've never made a mistake in my life.
Is it possible that they could ride the D?
Does the winner of Texas Tech Utah game break into the top 12? I think they break into the top 10, because you start looking at the schedule this week, and you start to understand that the losers at Happy Ending Valley can't get free passes every week. And this week is the week they don't get a free pass. But you look at Tennessee is going to pound UAB. They'll be back in the top 12. I am very interested to see how does Oregon look against Oregon State? Because that's the one, if we're being honest and we're looking ahead to the Knuckle Deep Boys in 2 weeks, Oregon State is a bad football team. That game's at Autzen. You need to beat them by 50-something points.
Yeah.
And you need to be convincing. And I think that's a huge game. And then I look at Oklahoma Auburn this week, huge game. That I cannot describe the importance of that game for the SEC. Oklahoma needs to win that game. It's in Norman at Memorial. You've got to win that game.
And I think they will. I do think they will.
We'll see. That's an interesting game. I just think we're starting to get it, like Miami and Florida at Hard Rock. Now, again, Miami's had this nice run of home games. Did I mention that they still have yet to leave home? The first month of the season, they haven't gone on a road trip, which is why I'm skeptical of calling them my 5th best team in the country.
Yeah.
They play Florida on Saturday night, 7:30. Then they got to go to Florida State, Louisville, Stanford, at SMU, Syracuse, North Carolina State, Va-Tech, and Pitt. This is it. These next 2 weeks are it. Because Miami's not going to play another team of consequence after Florida State. So you would expect them to run the table, right? You would. Other than that, I think it's Illinois and Indiana. Huge game. Huge game. And I think those are the games that are really going to make a difference in where Utah and Texas Tech end up.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the problem is, like, you know, this week's AP poll has Tennessee obviously down the stack at 15, but that's absolutely a college football playoff team if you look at the rest of their schedule.
Yes.
And for me, like, again, I know it's not possible to have them in the real world be a top 5 team right now, but I have them in my top 5 best teams in the country right now. I think that Georgia-Tennessee game shows you everything you need to see. You got quarterback play, you got defense, you got special teams, all in that game, right? And I sit here and I look at the AP top 25, and I'm like, all right, well, you know, Tennessee or Florida State, that'd probably be a really good game, but I'm taking Tennessee in that game, right? Tennessee or Illinois, not even a question. I'm taking Tennessee, right? Tennessee or Miami. And, you know, Miami fans going to be like, oh, we'll be in that game. I'm not so confident you would be in that game. I think if Miami and Tennessee played, even if it was at Hard Rock, I still think you're losing that game by at least a touchdown, in my opinion.
Do.
I do. Yeah, I don't think you have the firepower to keep up with Tennessee. Again, I just want to reiterate, Tennessee and Georgia just played a 40-point game in the SEC. They've shown the ability to put up 40 points against an SEC defense. So
just an incredible performance.
So when I look at the top 25, when I look at the top 25, I agree. Ohio State's the number 1 team in the country. It's really not even close. Thus, they got 55 first place votes, right? I think we can all agree on that. I would then have LSU as Georgia as the second best team. Then I'd have LSU. Then I would have Tennessee, and then I would have Oregon. And that would be my top 5 teams if it was me making the list. And I only say that based on who you've played, what I've seen.
So running 1 to 5 again.
So I would have Ohio State number 1, LSU number 2, Georgia number 3, Tennessee number 4, and Oregon number 5. That'd be my top 5.
So you don't have Miami in the top 5?
No, I have Miami in the top 7. Miami would be 6. Outside the top 5.
That's tough. You know, I just look at some of these. I think I mean, it's debatable, obviously. It's debatable. All right. In the comment section, give us your top 5 teams. Mike Smith, Swift has bewitched Travis Kelce. Oh, that's coming up here in 5 minutes. Trust me. Colonel Inglis, I called it before the season. Of course you did. Because you know everything.
Man.
Don't pick the Chiefs. I'm sure you did. Monty is the only 10 I see, you know.
See what you did there.
I think Miami's D-line would hurt Tennessee. I don't think Miami has a great D-line. I think they have a good offensive line. I don't believe that Miami has a great defensive line. I think it's good. I don't think it's great. I really don't. Vegas Kane also says, I think I'm talking about Pedo State versus Oregon versus Ohio State to the cock on thigh guy that wants his team number 1. There is no chance in the world that Pedo State, I almost slipped and said it the right way. No. Rock and Rant, College Game Day is coming to Miami because they're going to pay their respect for the Florida funeral.
Don't disagree, dude.
I don't know how Billy Napier doesn't get fired if they lose this game. Now, I will also warn you, the matchup for Miami against Florida is not a great matchup. It is not. I'll be very interested to see. I don't know. Billy Napier is an interesting guy to me because I look at. I just don't know what Russ Callaway's thinking is. I want to understand it. He's the offensive coordinator. I want to understand it, and I don't get it. I look at the way that this offense operates, and I'll be honest with you. I think I don't understand it, and I think Ryan O'Hara is the quarterback's coach at Florida. I have no idea what you're doing, and I want to understand it. I have no idea what the plan is week in and week out. And if somebody wants to tell me, because they're putting DJ Lagway in situations that he's just not built to succeed in. And I say this about Dante Moore. He has an offense that is fully built to do what he is comfortable doing. It's the exact opposite with DJ Lagway. I just don't know what it is you're trying to accomplish with this offense in Gainesville. I don't understand it. And I know that the stats are, I understand the stats are bad. Florida is one of the worst offenses in this league. I don't think a lot of it's on the players. I really don't. And I think the defense is actually quite good. I think the defense can compete with any offense in this conference. Are they going to win? No, I said compete. Are they Oklahoma, who I think currently and still, I could be wrong, but I looked last night and I think Oklahoma's number one, LSU's the number 2 defense in the conference after torturing DJ Lagway. And then I think it's Vandy, Texas, and Mississippi State. Now, we got to get in the conference play a little deeper because I think you're going to see Alabama's going to move up. Florida's going to move up. Certainly, Georgia's going to move up. But offensively, how does Florida improve? Can anybody explain to me how Florida improves? And I think my biggest concern for Miami is I just don't think Miami has seen an offense that has, like, CJ Carr just wasn't ready. The play calling was garbo. If you plug in Billy Napier in that offense, I don't know that you're going to see any difference than what you saw. They're poorly coordinated. They're poorly coached. They don't execute. The play calls suck. Florida's offensive line's not bad, right? And if legitimately Rock and Rant and every other, because the Kane fans certainly do come out in the flipping comment section. Here's my question. What's going to happen when you get to Florida State? And that's by far not close the best offense you've seen all year long. And the answer is I don't know, because if I'm Florida, I am simply not going to ask DJ Lagway to stand in the pocket and throw the football.
Why would you?
Right? You look at that interception, and forgive me if I'm wrong about this. He's in the pocket under pressure, and he like kind of falls and rolls himself left, throws all the way back into triple coverage, intercepted. Like, what on earth? That's the 5th interception of the night that he threw there. And I'm just like, I have no idea what you're looking at. So I look at some of the stats in this, and I say to myself, dude, if you allow DJ Lagway to roll, get out of the pocket, run when he wants to run, he actually throws the football very well to his right. They never let him throw the football to his right. And the only time he throws the football to his right is when it's getting intercepted and he's throwing all the way back across the field in the triple coverage. That's not DJ's fault. That's a bad coaching staff. That's why I'm going to pick Miami to win the game this weekend. Shocker. I'm taking Miami to beat Florida. And if Florida loses, and I don't care if that game was played on Jupiter, if you go to Hard Rock and lose, Billy Napier is getting fired after that game, because you can't have zero hope. You just can't have zero hope. And I think you have zero hope right now.
Agreed completely.
Because I think the one thing that we all know about Miami is they've got athletes. Is Mario Cristobal the guy you want coaching your football team in a big game? Is this Florida game a big game?
Not sure I'm ready to say it's a big game. I mean, locally it's a big game, but nationally?
Only because of the logos on the helmet.
Yeah.
It's a big game because Miami has a chance to go undefeated this year.
Yeah.
Now, I personally do not believe in any way, shape, or form are they going to Tallahassee and beating Florida State. Not from what we've seen out of that team. Like, that's just not going to happen. But if you start looking at some of the numbers and you start asking yourself how some of this plays out, I mean, I still maintain if we're gonna rank things, are you at all telling me that DJ Lagway's not a top 10 quarterback in the SEC? Right now.
I mean, he hasn't played that way.
Because he's not. He's not. Like, he's getting outplayed by Gunnar Stockton badly. Blake Shapen badly. Right? He's been so bad because of what you have asked him to do and the position that you have put him in. And I'm just like, God damn.
Well, dude, how are you not leaning on your boy Diego Pavia? I mean, come on.
Because I'm not ready to say Diego Pavia is one of the best quarterbacks in the country. And I'm happy to tell you, I think Diego Pavia is one of the 10 best quarterbacks in the SEC. I think he is. I mean, right now, my belief is that we don't know who the best quarterback in this league is, just because you have so many teams that are slanted, right?
You don't think it's Nussmeier?
I think it might be John Napier. Nussmeier or John Napier. John Napier.
Yeah.
John Napier has made some really big. He beat the shit out of Michigan. I mean, but Michigan just isn't talented right now. Like, it's almost unfair to grade. They're really poorly coached. They're really untalented, especially on offense. Like, you look at what they did this weekend. Did you see the celebrations that they were doing this weekend at Michigan? Bro, you played the Girl Scouts. You didn't play the Boy Scouts or the Cub Scouts. Bro, like, are you out of your mind? Like, this Michigan team is just so untalented and so poorly coached.
You know,
like, so how much do I give Napier? Like, I mean, the guy's averaging 314 yards a game, right? Like, that's something. But I'll be honest with you, what I saw out of Joey Aguiar against Georgia.
Yep.
It might be him, Napier, and I want Nussmeier to put up bigger numbers in bigger games. That's truly where my mind is. But anyway, all of this to go back and say, I don't understand what they're asking DJ Lagway to do. I want to understand it.
Nothing that he's good at. Let's put it that way.
I don't get it. And they haven't even gotten into the meat of their schedule yet, right? Like, I mean, you start looking at some of the defensive performances we've seen. Do you understand how good LSU secondary is? Like, do you have any idea? We have a long way to go, but on September 15th, this is going to be really tough. Vegas can't. UF is not beating Miami. Beck has never lost to Florida. Understand that Carson Beck is not a difference-making quarterback. Go back and watch them. Just go back and watch the Notre Dame tape. Watch the 2 touchdown throws. I know you guys are going, you're just a Notre Dame homer. Those 2 touchdown passes are prayers and required broken coverage, a guy buying a ticket and watching the game instead of playing, and an unreal catch.
I pray for moments like that.
Right? Like, if you look at who Miami has played, they played Bethune-Cookman. Am I supposed to be impressed with the South Florida win? Sure. South Florida looked great until they showed up at the Hard Rock, and then they couldn't play. Now, that's because Miami's really talented. But am I supposed to believe that Carson Beck throwing for 340 and 2 interceptions to go with his 3 touchdowns, I'm supposed to be impressed with that? Come on. The guy that still continues to impress me, and I've talked about him every week, and I'm going to keep talking about him, Keelan Marion, the way that Mario Cristobal in his offense is using Keelan Marion, I am telling you right now, he is going to be a weapon all season long as he stays healthy. He was misused and underappreciated at BYU. Trust me when I say him on one side with Malachi Toney in the slot next to Keelan Marion on the outside. There are few, LSU might be one of them, but there are few secondaries in the country who can handle that combination. So we can all sit here and that doesn't even include CJ Daniels, by the way. But I'm just going to continue to sit here and tell you, I am a firm believer that Carson Beck is an average-ass quarterback. And
you might want to fix your, hey, Vegas Kane, you might want to fix your criteria, okay?
Criteria. I'm not even being a red ass. I respect what Miami is as a football team, but Stadium Guy says Ohio State, Georgia, LSU, Oregon, and Miami. Very well could be. Yeah. When it's all, Joey Harper, when it's all said and done, SEC conference play is going to be a bloodbath. And it's going to hurt him, I think.
I just try to stand strong.
I think that's true. Mike Smith. Long Rod, Stiff Peter, greater than Fat Frank. 2 Live Crew was so much fun back in the day. I know Luther Campbell very well. And back in the day when I produced the Jim Rome show, Luther came on like 3 times. He came to LA. And I cannot tell you, one of my best parts of that job was just sitting in the avocado room. Not the green room, it's the avocado room. With my feet up, just talking to these dudes. Bo Jackson and I had a great Jerome Bettis beating the shit verbally out of his personal assistant on the phone for forgetting to buy his wife a gift is one of the best absolute meltdowns I've ever heard from anybody on a phone to a personal assistant. Like, talking to Luther Campbell. His Miami Vice show stories, oh my God. You know, is Retzloff chopped liver? Dude, and BYU fans hate me for this. Jake Retzloff had one of the best games I've ever seen him play this past weekend. If Jake Retzloff was still at the Brigham Young University, that team would win this conference going away.
Heisman Trophy contender.
I agree with that. I do. Spinnerbait. Okay. Little carpy action. Beck did pretty good last year at Georgia for having no receivers or running backs to help out.
Bro. Shut the fuck up, Donnie.
It's not that difficult, bro. It wasn't Carson Beck. It was Georgia, okay? It was Georgia.
I think Carson Beck, you look at his numbers. Oh, my God, Monty. 3,900 yards, 24 touchdowns. Well, what happened last year when he had 3,500 yards and 28 touchdowns with 12 interceptions? Sacked 18 times. Holding the football. Right? And then you start saying to yourself, well, Monty, I mean, I don't what kind of asshole are you? Carson Beck, he was the engine on that team. Okay, pick the game that you want to say that Carson Beck was the engine. How about Texas?
Program.
Georgia beat Texas 30-15. They couldn't run the ball, even though Trevor Etienne was 19 of 87 with 3 scores in that game. And he didn't have any wide receivers. Bro. Carson Beck was 23 of 41, 175 yards, 3 interceptions. Now, they won the game, but let's not pretend that Carson Beck, because I look at guys in their biggest games, their biggest moments. I'm a huge believer in that. Trevor Etienne, touchdown. Peyton Woodring, 33-yard field goal. Trevor Etienne, touchdown, running. Peyton Woodring, field goal. Peyton Woodring, field goal. Trevor Etienne, 1-yard touchdown. But I thought you said they couldn't run the football. Interesting.
What you
All
want
right.
me to say to that?
Let's look at his best game. Last year, Carson Beck's best game was probably Alabama. I think we all would agree. Now, what do you remember about the Alabama-Georgia game? Okay, maybe you don't remember. Carson Beck, 27 of 50. Barely 50%. 439, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Oh, I remember they lost that game. Why'd they lose that game? Anybody want to remember why they lost that game? You probably don't. You don't want to remember that. Because that's the Jalen Milroe game.
Oh.
And then you start looking at the safety that he just didn't get rid of the football. And then the 75-yard bomb from Milroe to Ryan Williams that pretty much put Ryan Williams on the map. Oh, yeah, Monty.
The dynasty is not over.
And don't even start talking to me about that defense. Because I'm going to tell you something about Dan Jackson and Malachi Starks and KJ Bolden. And you start looking at those dudes and you're like, well, where's Dan Jackson now? I mean, who the flip it? Oh, he's with the Detroit Lions in the NFL. Well, Malachi Starks, Monty, certainly. Oh, that's right. He plays for the Baltimore Ravens. Oh. But Monty, no but Monty's. They had every reason to win games, and they didn't because he didn't win in the biggest moments. Hey, there he is. Now I talk Cal football, and you're nowhere to be found. Hurts my feelings. Cow turd. Suh, dude.
Yeah.
Good weekend for you. Beck and Bobo were also fighting behind the scenes constantly.
Hey, cow turd.
Gunnar Stockton or Carson Beck? Throwing the football, I'm going to take Carson Beck. Gumby, Woodring, pause. Pause, bro. I'm not, listen, Miami fans think I hate Miami. I don't hate the Miami Hurricanes. I think it's very difficult to hate the Miami Hurricanes, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that they need to beat Florida State. If they beat Florida State, they go undefeated. And if they go undefeated, MFers, I'm telling you, it's very good for college football. It's very good for college football if they go undefeated, man. 100%. And I know that people probably don't want to hear that, but you know, it's fine. Kalen DeBoer is a better man than you. Whew. How important was that win? Anybody want to talk about a big win? Ooh. Jake D! Ho ho!
Ho ho!
Jake
D! Is it possible that they could ride the D?
I'm a child. See, Jake D, it's
bro.
Jake's D.
Oh,
Jake's D. Okay.
So here, let me see. Can I do one of those that you just let's see. Let's go. Ah, there you go.
Monty got a new mixer because my other mixer broke. So now I don't have my stay hard drop, which in my opinion is insulting.
Yeah.
What? I mean, I've got them all. How about you guys want to hear a real banger? This is TikTok trending, I believe. That's what I'm reduced to today. Can Cal keep JKS? That's what I want to know. I think Sagapulatelli is they will, because they're going to be good. I think if they can win, the biggest issue is the ACC. You can't lose multiple games in the ACC and go to the playoff. And as cool as Cal's story is, and as good as it, let's be honest, their defense has been unbelievable. They're going to roll San Diego State, Boston College, Duke, North Carolina, Virginia Tech, Virginia, at Louisville. At Louisville is the game of the year. That's their game of the year. And then SMU going to Berkeley. That's a tough trip for SMU. My guess, and I know you think I'm crazy. Monty, you're stupid. Do you know ball? I don't know ball. I don't know as much about balls as your mom does. But my point is, see how that I'm working over here. The point is, I think there's a real good chance that Cal's in the ACC race at the end, just simply by their schedule.
Go play intramurals, brother.
I'm already resigned to losing Sago Polu Tuiatu.
Yeah, that's what your mom said.
I'm just going to enjoy the ride. You should.
Pack this thing up. We're out of here.
Florida will beat Miami and Napier will get an extension. Don't say that out loud.
Well,
don't say that out loud. You know. All right, couple more. Then I want to get to crying about the Bears. Dude, Monty got a new mixer because my other mixer broke. Needs some solid bars. Wah, wah.
Because it's garbage.
You know. Two pants. Who's going to have a worse season, Chiefs or the Bears?
Dude, why do you have to phrase it that way? See, why start the conversation that way, dude?
I mean, because he's not wrong. I don't. You know, and I want you guys to know that is it still here? It's not still here. Damn. The spider attack video was going to be amazing.
I don't know. I don't know if I don't quite know how to answer that, to be honest.
Hey, Monty, are the Bears any good?
I don't know. I don't know if I don't quite know how to answer that, to be honest.
Monty, your thoughts on the defense?
I don't know. I don't know if I don't quite know how to answer that, to be honest.
Problem is, the Bears were fine because you were never. There was nobody that you weren't going to beat the Lions. The Lions are a better team.
He has our full respect.
But you were competing until Jalen Johnson's balls fell off on the field, and he's out for probably the year with a groin injury. The defense just went to bed after that. And the thing that worries me most is the offensive line is still really bad for the Bears. I'm not worried about Caleb at all. I think Caleb Williams looks really good. I think is he making good decisions? No. The interception, I wanted to smack the TV.
Because it's garbage.
But when you look at what we're seeing out of Caleb Williams, it's not his fault that they lost 52-21.
I knew today would be shitty.
All right, let's just be very honest and say the 4 sacks he took, 3 of the 4 were not his fault. I don't understand. Again, I'm just going to say, what were you asking him to do? Because I don't understand where the tight ends in this offense are. Colston Loveland got 1 target. Where are the tight ends in this offense, right? Like, where is Luther Burden in the slot? Put Luther Burden in the slot next to DJ Moore. Look at how it's helping Rome Odunze.
Do you view this season as a failure?
DJ Moore and Rome Odunze can't be the only offense throwing the football. And a lot of it is, and the thing that here's how you know the Bears are going in the right direction. He's actually reading. He's progressing. Number one. And you know he's progressing because he's moving sides of the problem is that I just don't think that you have the right pieces it's Nick Saban. I need to get everybody on the bus in the right seats. Is it the play call? Like, schematically, why are you not throwing to the tight ends more? He is incredibly accurate to the boundary.
Why did you draft Loveland if you're not going to throw the football to him?
And there's a lot of people who say he's hurt. If he's hurt, don't put him on the field because I don't want to see the guy running routes and not getting the football. I just don't. Zacchaeus, Komet, DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, phenomenal job. I want to see more throws to DeAndre Swift. And my biggest concern, again, I'm just going to keep saying this, we don't have a backup running back. That's a huge problem in this offense. But none of that is even close to a problem if we're like, well, you gave up 52 points to the Lions. And you had 6 sacks in your hands. Do you know how many sacks the Bears had yesterday? None. Not a single one. You had none. Not a single sack yesterday. You had him 6 times. 2 of the 6 did not even count as a hit. That's how bad your tackling is. And then you look at the fact that the Lions average 6 yards a carry. The defensive line is a huge problem. And yet everybody wants to go to Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams is not the problem. Caleb Williams is not the problem. And again, like I look at the quarterbacks around the NFL. I look at JJ McCarthy. Caleb Williams is twice as good as JJ McCarthy, who put on a shit show last night and looked, for the second week in a row, looked absolutely lost throwing the football. I have No idea what my guy is doing. I would love to understand it. I to this day do not understand it. I would love to understand it. But I don't understand.
I don't know.
I want to.
I don't know.
And I'm just going to keep saying this. JJ McCarthy's not an NFL quarterback, and KO is not an NFL head coach. You can't lose to the Atlanta Falcons like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's terrible.
You cannot lose to the Falcons like that. JJ McCarthy was really bad.
Yeah, and I just don't know. The problem is that you know the Bears, that loss is just so frustrating on a multitude of levels, so many levels. I mean, everything from obviously the injury sucked to you know the lines, you know the secondary just being absolutely lost on coverage. Like half the time, I don't even know what the hell the safeties are looking at in the Bears secondary. But you're playing center field in whatever scheme, and you have guys just running wide open down the hash. Like you're a safety. You're supposed to pick that guy up. Like I don't know. Like I'm not an NFL offensive coordinator. I'm certainly not Ben Johnson, but it's not rocket science to say that, hey, the safety is supposed to pick up the guy running down the field. Like it's not that difficult. And it's I just watching football this weekend, whether it was Notre Dame, the Bears, you know, but whoever you want to point to, dude, hell, even Tennessee at times when it went bad for him. I'm just sitting there and I'm like, dude, like, what are we doing defensively? Like, why?
And
like,
that's the problem with the Bears. The Bears don't have a defensive line. Like that offensive line in Detroit is not good. And when you look at how they dominated the Bears up front, I mean, there's no other way we can massage it, but I mean, who am I, Bob Kraft at the parlor? Like there's no massaging this, right? The Bears defense is bad. And I continue to ask these people, Big Blue Horses, perfect example. If Williams continues to struggle, he'll be benched. Tell me that you don't know shit about Caleb Williams without telling me, because every measurable stat, and again, I'm just going to tell you, I'm sitting on the couch last night watching every one of his throws.
Damn well knowing that dudes like you would comment this today.
And I look at his deep ball. Caleb Williams is throwing the best deep ball in the NFL by percentage this year. I don't know how many people realize this. Caleb Williams is graded 86.9 on his deep throws, which is 25 yards or more. 86.9. And his big time throw percentage is 33.3%, which is top 15 in the NFL, and a 28-point jump from last year. Oh, but he sucks. He sucks. Okay. Well, if he sucks, why on earth is he one of the highest rated explosive play quarterbacks in the NFL? I'm guessing you didn't see the throw to Rome Odunze. It's wild to me that people want to point fingers at Caleb Williams and be like, yeah, he should be benched or traded. You don't know what you're talking about. You just don't know what you're talking about, because he is far from the problem in Chicago. JJ looked terrible. With that said, man alive, talk about O-line problems. Two guys came through the middle of the line and neither had a pinky touched. And I don't mean to be redundant, Mike. Have you built an offense around what JJ McCarthy does? Yes. What's the problem with that? He still looks really bad. The interception into triple coverage. Oh, and then my foot hurts. Anybody pick up on that? Oh, and then my foot hurts. JJ McCarthy's not an NFL quarterback. When you say to him, and this was his problem at Michigan, we need you to carry the football team by throwing the ball, which Michigan never, not one time, asked him to do. Look at what the Vikings are struggling with 2 years later. 2 years later. If the Bears don't improve, they're going to be exiled to Arlington Heights. It's funny you bring that up, Because you know what my biggest problem here is? You have a guy in Kevin Warren, the president of the Bears, who still has not broken ground on a new stadium. He's a year late. The guy who can't get a stadium built just gave a 3-year extension to the general manager who can't draft. Do you understand that we have no Pro Bowlers in first-round picks? I think it's for the last 4 years. Not one of our first-round picks has been a Pro Bowler. Like, I don't understand that at all. Lions O-line looked way better from week 1. Dude, how could they not? Are you kidding me? The Bears defense is... And go back and look at the first quarter tape or the tape before Jalen Johnson gets hurt. The offensive line don't look that great. He goes out and the Bears couldn't blitz anymore. And boom, 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 boom. Like you look at it, it's I think the Lions have to be remarkably better at pass protection. And I'm not sure how you fix that. Honest to God. At this late stage, you needed to address that because Montgomery's always been very questionable in pass pro.
Right.
And I think he remains very questionable in pass pro.
Well, and I also think that, this team obviously went through and is going currently through quite the renovation. I think that, everyone wants to talk about the Chiefs and the crap job they're doing. Who's play calling for them on offense? Oh, that's right. That same guy that was coaching the Bears at one point. So, it's this thing where the Bears are undergoing a renovation. They're obviously not going to have talent at every position. Not that you're suggesting that, but just, you're still in the process. Like, I think people forget the choice that they made, right? Like, you chose not to go, crazy in the draft on offensive line because you acquired that I believe it was in trade. What am I that you traded for those guys? So
and free agency.
Yeah. And so, you did the best you could on the offensive line, but I do think there's this part of it where guys just need to play better. Like, you need to play better football, dude. Like catch the football, run the correct route, like work the progression better, which Caleb's doing. Be better, technically speaking, on the offensive and the defense. Like, there's part of that. Guys simply need to play better football. I understand they're not all pro level players, but I got news for you guys. Not every offensive line has 5 all pros on it, dude.
And I think one of the things that really worries you about this offense is that Caleb's only rolling out 5.5% of the snaps. And I think with the offensive line problems, especially off the left tackle, you got to get him out of the pocket more than that. And I think when you look at some of his numbers, I mean, again, tell me you don't know anything about the Bears. His turnover-worthy play rate is 2%. That's elite. His big-time throw percentage rate is 6.7%. That's elite.
I do think that, look, in fairness to the Caleb conversation, I mean, I thought he was better this week than he was last week. Last week, I thought he missed several key throws that you just can't miss. So I thought he was better this week than he was last week. But overall, I think that the reality is, for me anyway, is when you compare like Caleb Williams and JJ, just as an example, I think Caleb has miles more talent than JJ has. I think he's a better athlete.
Well,
he's better throw the football.
So do NFL coordinators, because Caleb Williams is only seeing 8 men in the box 26% of the time.
Yeah,
and that's because they know the Bears can't run, and he will tear you up throwing the football.
Yeah. So I just think that the Caleb, I think, will be tested a lot on his leadership ability throughout this season. I think that this season's going to have a lot of up and downs for the Bears. I think that you got to keep perspective, and I also think that I don't want to see Ben Johnson doing the Brian Kelly, dude. You have to be above that stuff this year. You have to have an ability to say to keep it professional, not make it personal, and it's just business. And the other thing I don't want to see this year is this drama. I don't want to see the drama of last year, and then I harken back to the Justin Fields days of the drama between quarterback and head coach. You can't allow any of that media nonsense to get into this process. And those are some of the things for me as a younger football team at key positions like head coach and quarterback, and honestly at GM as well. or I want to see some of that stuff be taken care of. Because the reality is, ultimately, even though you got your ass kicked by the Lions over the weekend, you can still, work through this season, be an 8, 9-win team, right? Improve, feel good about what you did this year, and then, go out and improve the trenches. I mean, that to me, if this team is an 8 or 9-win team and you don't find a way to improve at least the offensive line at a minimum, then we can talk about bad drafting. But I think it's difficult to draft well when you don't develop well, right? Like, it's easy to be like, oh, they haven't had all pros in a minute. Okay, well, who the hell is on the coaching staff? Because we know those guys were terrible. And how many of those guys have moved on and have been decent? Like, that's what I think is difficult.
I think it's difficult. You look across the NFL, like you either have a quarterback or you don't.
Yeah.
And this is where this situation with Joe Burrow comes in, because I don't know. I'm sure everybody has seen it by now. Joe Burrow's out at a minimum of 3 months. He is not projected to be back. He is not projected to be back until middle of December. And that is,
see you next year, Joe.
That's tough, dude. Like there's just no way to get around that. And I really think that this is brutal, because you're going to play a guy who knows the system, right? And which is fine, but you're not replacing Joe Burrow, right? You're not replacing Jaden Daniels in your offense. He's iffy for this week with a knee injury already. I think it's a really tough ask. I think it is a really tough ask. And then you go to this situation in Jacksonville, and Jake, I'll give you a lot of credit. You talked about trading Trevor Lawrence last year. I don't know how you explain this. That's Trevor Lawrence waving off his head coach, who was pounding on his chest, yelling at Trevor Lawrence, because what did Trevor Lawrence do? Did not run the play as it was designed. And it is now, I'm just going to keep saying this. How many of your quarterbacks are running the play as it's designed? And I'm going to tell you, not many. And all those guys are the guys that struggle. And I think quarterback in the NFL is a huge problem. Like this situation right here, you may not think this is a quarterback problem. Travis going on the sideline and screaming, "I'm tired of this S," after Kermit the Frog ran it into the end zone, after Raiola ran in the touchdown, instead of throwing it to a wide open Travis Kelce on the play.
Yeah, the Raiola wannabe, that guy.
I think this is becoming a huge problem. And I think if you look at Travis Kelce, I'll continue to tell you what I told you last year. He's a bum. He's done. And I think I'm not saying that it is that Travis sucks. He's just, that interception off his hands, that essentially ended the game for them, because they were demoralized. And you start looking at after that, he's yelling, "I'm sick of this S." Like, I don't like, what is the issue, man? Catch the football so that the defense doesn't catch the football, because it was a very catchable pass.
Yeah. And I think that the issue for Travis Kelce right now is that everyone, like, I heard the broadcast talking about how, like, Trav is still regarded as Patrick Mahomes' security blanket, right? They run him over the middle all the time, and he's kind of the escape hatch for Patrick Mahomes. And I think what's difficult is that Kansas City is in this position where your defense is allegedly good. I didn't think it was all that good yesterday, and hasn't been good this season so far. You watch the game yesterday and you're like, wow, Monty, it's a 20-17 game or whatever it was. It's a low scoring game. They played a defensive game. Yeah. The problem with that is, though, the play calling is trash on both sides. Matt Nagy is an embarrassment of a play caller calling this offense right now. Like, at some point, the ball needs to go down the field, right? Like, at some point there needs to be more consistent down the field running, so you can run the football with your average ass running back room that you have right now. But you're not doing that. You're asking Patrick Mahomes to do things you shouldn't be asking him to do. Not to say he's not capable, but you're just putting him in a tough position with how you're calling the offense, which leads to, you guessed it, your defense being on the field too much and getting overexposed. So what's everyone talking about? Oh, well, the Eagles false started on the tush push at the goal line. Oh, they cheated their way to victory. Yeah, but you know what the problem with that is? They should have never been in that position. You should have never been in a position to have to defend the tush push at the goal line. Yet you are. So stop bitching about them cheating, and let's start talking about the fact that you need to re-energize the offense. Your issue is...
No. I'm only going to let you spew so much BS about the lowly losing Kansas City Chiefs. The offensive line is the problem. It's been the problem. It's going to continue to be the problem. Do you know that they are the third worst run blocking team in the NFL? Do you understand that their offensive line has more penalties than any other offensive line in the league? They are the most penalized offensive line. An Andy Reid offense is one of the most penalized offensive lines in the NFL. And I agree with you. Their defense is they're not Chicago Bears bad, but they're not good. And when you look at their overall, like the Bears are the worst defense in the NFL in every statistical category, mind you. The Kansas City Chiefs, I believe, are 27th. 27th. And when you start looking at some of the numbers on their defense, they're 26th in run defense. Okay, but maybe they're just getting run on. They're 18th in tackling. Is that any good? Okay, well, but Monty, they certainly paid all those guys to rush the passer. They're 30th in pass rush. Well, Monty, they got great corners and they cover. They're 15th in coverage. Right? Like, this team's not good. I'm just going to continue to tell you the offensive line is what is plaguing the Kansas City Chiefs. And it's why old fat ass Trav and his alien looking soon to be wife on their BS podcast, maybe you ought to learn to block, because you're a terrible blocker. He's not a good blocker. And, finally your a-hole right tackle, the most penalized right tackle in the NFL. And we're supposed to feel bad for the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, do I enjoy watching them lose games? Yeah, I hate the Chiefs. Do I enjoy the Philadelphia Eagles continuing to get away with neutral zone infractions from the offensive line on the tush push? I don't. And I don't understand why you won't talk about it. I don't understand why you won't call it. Yet now, shockingly, the guy I've been talking about for how many years, now Juwan Taylor is finally not allowed to get an early start like he had been during their dynasty years. Oh, now Juwan Taylor's false starting. Okay, now I get it. That's what's wrong with the Kansas City Chiefs. Their offensive line is not good. I feel better talking about other crappy football teams outside of the Bears.
Good, I'm glad.
Why do you say it like that?
I mean, because there's just a lot of negativity in the NFL right now. There's a lot of, hey, injury, we're not the team we thought we should have been, there's just a lot of that. And it's 2 weeks into the season or whatever, 3 weeks into the season, whatever it is, it's early. But I don't know. I'm tired of Joe Burrow being hurt. I'm over it. I'm tired of, I'm not tired of Brandon Aubrey's 64-yard field goals. I love watching the dude kick a football. Notice the Aaron Rodgers slurp fest didn't happen this week, did it?
Because they lost. But are you at least going to give me some love on one of the best passers in the NFL? Are you at least going to give me some love on just how incredible the Dallas Cowboys are at throwing the football? Now, I know I must be misreading this stat because There's just no way shitty Dak Prescott, who everybody here has told me is a terrible quarterback, and they need to cut him and they need to trade him and they need to, make him their water boy and all the things you guys have told me. Who's the number one passing offense in the NFL? No, it is not the Dallas Cowboys. They're number 2. They're number 2. Dak is 88 passing offense. Well, but Monty, that's because they're just amazing at pass blocking. Nope. Do you guys know who the dead last rated team in pass blocking is in the NFL? No, go ahead, say it. The Dallas Cowboys are dead last in pass blocking. Does anybody want to know who the middle of the road, dead average ass receiving core is in the NFL? Number 16, that'd be the Dallas Cowboys. So it's not, well, it's the receiver. No, they're average. The offensive line is dominating, right? Well, no, they're average too. You know how they're winning? They're running the football, and Dak Prescott is playing elite football. That's how they're winning, because there's no other way to explain just how mediocre the offensive line and the wide receivers in Dallas are, and just how amazing Dak Prescott is. That's
Yeah. He's
Where
playing
are all
well,
the
dude.
haters?
He's playing well, dude.
I want my flowers.
Why don't you fuck off?
Jerks.
Yeah, he's playing well. Give him credit, man.
Cowboys defense made Russell look like an all-pro passer yesterday. Bro, can I just ask straight away? The Giants really are this bad, aren't they?
Yes.
How did you score 37 points and because Russ came back to bite you in overtime? Yeah, when the game got important, Russ threw his interception. Like, were you trying to punt the football with your arm, Russ? Is that what that was? Did you guys see that? He just to nobody. Yeah, I'm just going to throw it into the Bermuda Triangle and
yeah, just throw it out there. Hope for the best, man.
What's amazing too is that when you get into some of the team stats and you start looking at high leverage passing situations, that's where the truth comes out. That's where the truth comes out. And you start seeing that the New York Giants are repeatedly and regularly one of the worst coached teams in the NFL on a regular basis. And some of the Dak numbers, as wowed as I was in this game, some of the Giants numbers, the pressure and depth numbers are amazing. Between the numbers, right in the middle of the field, Russell is amazing. No matter how far down the field you want to go, you ask him to throw to the boundaries. Because three of 8. One was a bobbled 57-yard touchdown. And then, of course, the terrible interceptions. But the best part is, you ask him to. Russell Wilson was 6 of 6 inside of 5 yards to the left, 2 of 3 inside of 5 yards to the right. You ask Russ to throw it down the field, and that dude can't do nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-oh. We lost Monty. Okay. We lost Monty.
Kicked out. I got hardcore kicked out.
Damn. See, this is what happens when you talk Cowboys and then you talk Russ and you start saying nice things.
The stuff goes sideways.
Yeah.
But anyway, the point is, yeah, we were. My point is, if you want Russ to throw it underneath, that's your dude. You want Russ to throw it down the middle of the field, that's your dude. Do not ask him to throw it past 10 yards to the sideline, because that thing's getting intercepted.
100%, dude. Yep. Yep.
Anyway, couple more, and then we got to get to Steve. Yeah. I think it's really interesting how many people just are rooting against the Dallas Cowboys. Are the Dallas Cowboys the most hated team in the NFL?
Yeah, well, I mean, when you trade the best player in the NFL or one of the best players in the NFL, that's not really helping your cause, right? I mean, and then to make it worse, you've traded him to a team that now looks like one of the best teams in the NFL. So, I don't know, man. I do think they're one of the most hated teams in the NFL, but at the same time, sports,
they're not hated as much as LeBron and the Lakers.
They're not hated as much as Bron and the Lakers or certainly the Yankees and the Red Sox or even the Dodgers.
I feel like Jerry is.
Jerry, I think, is one of the most hated figures in all of sports. Yeah.
Greg says I should let you handle the show for the last 10 minutes. No, go ahead. Okay. I tried. I am amazing. I am amazing. Mike Smith, most hated, most valuable team, all-time sports, all world. Plus, when SAS needs a go-to segment, he talks. They all do, right? Yep. They all do. Colonel Ingus, does anybody know who leads the league in QBR when they have a 10-point lead while at home with the wind at their backs? But you guys want to get into stats to talk about. I don't look at stats the way you guys look at stats. I'm not going to look at somebody's like we argued over QBR. I'm not.
Monty has adjusted QBR on 4th down with the wind at 3 miles an hour out of the south at the shoe is incredible. Have you seen that?
Joey Harper, Carroll versus Harbaugh, round 3 begins tonight in Vegas. How am I supposed to root for Pete Carroll?
You're not. That's the whole point. You got to go full.
I'm not rooting for Cheater Boy.
Yeah, well.
No chance that's happening. That scumbag loser no, you're not goat me into that. Growing up, I was a Cowboy fan, but when they started calling themselves America's team, I turned on them and haven't turned back all these years later. You really have not gone back. I don't believe you. You have never gone back to being a Cowboy. How are you? Dude, as much as I hate the flipping Bears.
So what, are you a Texans fan now?
Like, come on. There is no way that I am turning my back on the Bears.
No.
That's just not going to happen. There's no way that's going to happen. QBR is ESPN garbage. It depends on how you deploy the QBR stat. In one quarter for a third, no, in one game, Monty. No, but QBR is a stat for a long scope. It's much more of things like, hey, what were you rated by quarter? What was your grade per pass? Like, there's all kinds of ways. Stats, the macro stat will tell any story you want it to tell. Well, his QBR was shit, Monty.
Can you measure it?
Yeah, but his rating in the fourth quarter was, because all the people who hate Arch Manning are like, oh, his QBR against Ohio State. Well, he was rated 91.6. Well, he got lucky. Well, he didn't really get lucky. And the number one throw of the week, and then, like 3 other throws. Now, does that mean that Arch Manning sucks? No. Does that mean he's good? He's clearly not. But you have to use stats properly.
And it sucks.
Like QBR is just another stat that someone can use to fit in whatever narrative they like. Totally agree. 100%. Which is why I don't understand all of you mountain men that have beards. Did you guys hear the story about beards? Beards, mustaches, and the like are the hottest male grooming trend right now. In the 2nd century, Middle Ages, and Renaissance, in the late 19th century, they did not have beards and stashes as we currently do in the 5th century now.
Man, just mind blown.
I've never understood this beard thing. Okay, I think it's probably because I'm a prepubescent child when it comes to growing facial hair. One, my facial hair is just straight up gray. Like, if I grow a beard or a goatee, I look like I'm 179 years old.
Okay, but gray has come into style.
It depends on whose style we're talking about.
Uh-huh.
Right? New facial hair renaissance seems intrinsically connected to the current discord around masculinity.
Okay, so in English, what you're saying is that dudes are growing beards to feel more like dudes.
Yes. People are growing beards. Men are growing beards because they feel like it makes them more manly to have a beard.
Mm-hmm.
Beards are once again the mainstream and are now more prolific than at any other time in recorded history, which usually means their meaning has changed. Male facial hair has become a cliche. It's inevitable that people will start moving in other directions because this has to be the peak, according to the New York Times. Vanessa Friedman talked to the leading style and grooming experts.
Okay.
Who say that any time in normal history, when you have trends like this, it usually means it's coming to an end. So are you telling me now that dudes are going to stop growing beards?
Yeah, that they're just going to get their Gillette 50 blade razor out and shave it all off?
I don't think that's happening. Yeah, Mike Smith, a noted professional beardsman. No, I'm not going to say it. I was growing my beard out when I got out of the Army and before it was some kind of trend. I know you were. Illumindursky, hello. Delaric, 2 reasons I grow my beard is I look younger than I do without one. And the other is I'm just too lazy to shave.
See, I'm down with that life. I can appreciate that, bro.
Jake, the king of the 5 o'clock shadow. Beards are an American thing. It's to cover up face fat because our country is incredibly obese.
Jesus, Greg. Wow.
Wow.
Fat.
I think he just called me fat.
Where are we at in society today?
Okay.
Wow.
Okay. I think a big factor is jawline. If jawline is too small, guys want big beards to enhance their jaws. If jaw is too big, guys want a short beard to cover up their acreage. Okay.
Their acreage.
I like it. Vegas Kane, I thought beards was the in thing 5 or 6 years ago, and it still is.
I guess.
It still is. So,
well, Mrs. Monty put you through a phase.
Yeah,
right?
My wife wanted a goatee in a bad way, and I hated every second of it. I'm a big believer that every inch you grow on your beard, your shrinks 1 inch. I
think most dudes feel it's the other way around, bro.
I have no science to back that up. Kurt Meyer's Bigfoot look, going back to our roots. Yeah. Chad Perling, UCLA needs a coach more than a boatload of money. It must include a BMW M4 competition. God damn it. So I have to get tires. I bought an M4, an X4M, excuse me, competition. And it comes with some really pimp-ass Continental all summer tires, only summers. And they're really good tires. They come with a winter set, which is called a Pirelli Scorpion, which does not do well on dry road conditions. So I have to buy a set of tires. 21-inch wheels, fat ass back, so I have an offset, wider back tires than front tires. $2,000 to get all season tires put on the old Pele. $2,000 for Pele to have new shoes. And I'm just like, yeah, you knew it. A $100,000 car, you get $100,000 car problems. And
that's what fucking ticks me the fuck off.
Truer words have absolutely been spoken, but not recently.
Suckmyass.com.
It's so frustrating. It's not frustrating. I didn't think about the fact that When he told me, hey, you get a set of winter tires with this as well, let us know. Just come back anytime you want. They're sitting here in storage. We'll put them on for you. Call the guy today. Hey, he's like, yeah, they're Pirelli Scorpions. You might want to wait until the first snowfall. I'm like, I've never even heard of Pirelli Scorpions. Yeah, you don't want to put those on dry road.
It's rough, dude.
So I am into, and the tire I wanted is not rated for the performance of my car. I wanted a Michelin Cross Climate too. Nope. Can't put the $1,000 tires on the car. So now I'm getting some Michelin Pilot Sport 4 Pluses.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate because it's this thing where, because the car is so capable, you have to have a tire that can keep up. And unfortunately, it is literally as simple as, in my experience, just with, never having a car as fast as the car you have now, but just having cars that, like the STI, the Golf R, even the Abarths, like, you have to have sidewall strength if you have a car that's that capable. And unfortunately, the Cross Climate 2 doesn't have it. It's a phenomenal tire. Would recommend it on literally any car that's not, that's not a M, I guess, or, a performance-oriented car like that. But, it's unfortunate. But what I was telling you earlier, I think it still rings true, right? I'm a big believer that having 2 sets of tires on an all-wheel drive car is the way to go, because then you can elongate both sets of tires and not have to buy tires for, honestly, I would say with your situation, and
I just don't drive it much.
Yeah. Honestly. So I just don't think that you're going to have to be like, a lot of people run into this issue where they have to do tires, once a year or every 6 months, depending on how they drive the car, right? They get summers, they drive the hell out of them for obvious reasons, and then they have to replace those tires, which I get. But I just think in your situation, while this is painful to have to spend that much on tires, your long-term cost is going to be well under what most people would wind up paying.
Yeah, I don't disagree. We'll see. We're going to get the Pilot Sport. We're going to get the 4 Plus CPs.
Yeah.
We're going to do it because it's the right tire for the car, and it's the cost of doing business.
Mm-hmm.
It is the cost of doing business. Did you see the cool polo shirt I'm wearing today?
No, dude, I didn't look at the post you sent me mid-show because,
How would I even see are you sending us posts mid-show again?
Yes, he DM'd me on Instagram.
What are you doing? Who were the other Vegas guys here? Got a track day going to Pahrump. Ooh, okay. Okay. Kind of car do you drive, Vegas, Kane? Walmart always seems to be out of stock of the cheapest tires. There's a shocker.
Yeah.
There's a shocker. Tire is a tax deduction, and certainly in my situation, it is. Absolutely. So, and I appreciate what,
Yeah.
That's fine. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Friends of the program, noting the polo shirt today.
That's nice, dude.
Got to wear black to look thinner. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah. All right. Enjoy the games. We'll be back tomorrow. The Monty Show, as always, presented by the Advocates at theadvocates.com. The best injury attorneys in the business, where you never pay a penny out of pocket. Clear risk-free advice 24/7, 365 at theadvocates.com. Until tomorrow, say goodbye, Jake.
Goodbye, Jake.